Live streaming is on.
Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I'll be your host this evening. Here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, show and tells, and also what you've done in your shop or at the flying field lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthanger Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthanger.com. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in and just want to watch us on YouTube, please enter your questions and comments in the chat box. I will do my best to make your comments a part of the show, even though sometimes it is hard to get a word in edgewise. I'll do my best, so that I make an effort to do. Now, if you find Stunthanger Video Hangouts or the many building videos Sparky has done on this platform informative and enjoyable, please like, subscribe, and when you subscribe, make sure you have hit the notification bell and select all notifications so that you will know when Sparky or my stuff is live. And also share the videos. That helps the channel grow. When you look on your home feed and you see the suggested videos on the right side, those are videos based upon your past history of videos you've liked. So if you like our video, it'll show up more often there. Okay. Now, you might also want to consider joining, and we'd appreciate your joining the YouTube membership. It starts at $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day, and your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunthanger. Now, with your membership, you get special badges and member-only videos you can watch repeatedly, and these are only for members only. And then once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show just for members only. And there's some other special perks as well. Now, you can use the super chat if you don't want to do the monthly. Please consider supporting us through the super chats. Those are also helpful. You can find the super chat at the bottom of the chat box when you're watching the program on YouTube. I believe it's only when it's live. I haven't seen it or noticed it on replays. So, anyways, keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words you wouldn't say around your children or grandchildren. And without further ado, I'm going to get ready to post the link. And this is how people come into the program. I'm posting it right now. And so hopefully, very shortly, I'll have some friends and hopefully some new guests pop in. That'd be wonderful. I know we have had some new people show up on the chat box. One individual was from, I believe it's from Colombia, if I remember correctly. And unfortunately, I was born in Panama, and my mom spoke fluent Spanish. She spoke English around me, so I don't know a lot of Spanish. I know, and matter of fact, most of my neighbors are Spanish, so you would think I would know Spanish. And our first one in is Peter. How are you doing, Peter? I don't hear you. Can you hear me? Let me see. Hang on a second. I don't hear you. Let's see what's going on. Huh. Peter, can you hear me?
I hear you now. I didn't have my speakers turned on.
Oh, okay. All right, good. I was just like, I'm getting so used to having mishaps on this show. They don't like freak me out like when I first started. I would have like, wouldn't quite be have anxiety attacks, but it was very, very exciting when I first started. And
Yeah,
now I've just kind of expect things to not go right, and when it happens, I just like it's like water on a duck's back. Okay, it's like, oh well, okay, what else is new,
No, I swapped out. I had like a pair of speakers, regular speakers hooked up for the longest time, and they were starting to make all sorts of weird noise, scratchy noises and stuff. So I had this Sony TV sound bar laying around. So I connected that up. So now that's hooked up instead of the computer speakers, and I just have to keep remembering to have to turn that on. Actually, physically turn that on whenever I want to hear anything.
Very, very good. Very, very good. I went flying today. I flew the Chipmunk today,
Oh,
and
very
with the new tank and I made, and ran good. It's runs a little bit slower inverted, so I need to move the tank a little bit further away from the tank floor. So, but there's not much room in there to shim it up very much. So I'm trying to think of either I'll make a thinner tank, which will allow me more adjustability, or something. I'm still thinking about it.
Hmm.
But
Okay, so it richens up when you go inverted.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So upright, my lap times for today were 4:42, and then inverted was 4:66, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta drop the tank further away from the engine bearers.
Right, exactly.
Sitting a little high because yeah, that's an inverted engine in the Chipmunk, right?
No, mine is upright. This is interesting. The engine is upright. I know, this is such a it's a
Oh,
confusing thing, because when you are thinking about
yeah,
it,
how is
then
that?
you come to a conclusion, and in most cases, you flip the plane over to make the adjustment, right? Because usually it's inverted, but mine's upright. But you're right. You move the tank further away from the engine bearers.
But wait a minute, and now I'm completely confused here. So your tank is sitting on, okay, so your plane fuselage is like that. The engine is sitting upright like this. So
Right,
typically the engine bearers are here. Your tank
right.
can't be down here. It would
No, it's on
stop on
top.
top.
Yeah, right. It's on top.
Oh, okay. There's enough room in the fuselage to put the tank on top. Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
think there was that much space at the.
yeah. This
Usually there isn't.
chipmunk is a little bit is a little unique. As a matter of fact, before I went flying today, I suspected that my vertical CG was off because it is an upright engine, and the way the plane was designed, it was designed for an inverted engine. And I was right because when I put heavier wheels on the plane to adjust the vertical CG, and now the plane flies better. It flies where the wings are level. Before, when I was upright, the outboard wingtip was down, and then when I was inverted, the outboard wingtip was a little bit up. And that was all because of the vertical CG, because of the crankcase being above the center line of the plane. The engine's making it the top of the plane heavier than the bottom, and that's what it flew like.
I gotta visualize this. I'm not having trouble
Oh, I'm the
visualizing.
same exact way. We are soulmates in that way. Yeah, I'm the same way. I understand things visually. You just can't just talk to me. I got to see what you're talking about.
There. Okay, yeah, because I'm like trying to think. So if your engine's upright and your tank would sit somewhere right around there with
Yeah,
the engine right there with the engine mount. So normally in a normal setup, your fuel pickup is just about in line with your spray bar. See how that lines up?
yeah, right, right.
Now, if yours is sitting low, maybe you have your engine's got the needle valve sitting higher.
I haven't measured it, but it looks like it's a traditional half inch above the bottom of the
Yeah,
mounting
because
load.
what I'm doing here is you see I have my fingers out over
Yeah,
the engine bearer, so I'm putting the tank sitting it right on the
yeah,
tip of
right,
my fingers,
right,
trying to figure out. So if it's like in a normal situation, the um the pickup tube is almost right in line with the needle valve. I'm
right.
guessing well, it doesn't matter. If you need to raise it, you're gonna need to raise it. But typically, like I said, in a chipmunk, there isn't a whole lot of that much room. Usually, especially if it's in an airplane that's designed to have an inverted engine, there usually isn't that much fuselage up here to hide a
You're
tank.
right. You're right. It's a scratch built a chipmunk. I took pictures of it finally. They're on my phone, but they're not on my computer yet.
Because the last airplane I remember building that an upright engine was an old, what was it, a Vico smoothie kit.
Wow.
And that isn't that's kind of designed to have the tank sitting up there. So, but still, if it's the normal height setup, yeah, I can see what you mean. You don't have that much space that much vertical space to play with. Usually, when the engine's inverted, you got a lot of space to drop that tank down.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so
I'm gonna send you a
Charles,
picture. I'm gonna send you a.
Charles,
Yeah, John.
is the tank are the mounts set where the normal kit would be? They just mounted the engine on top of the mounts. Are they up high, or are they down low, lower than actually probably about as low as the wing?
I think they're where they would normally be. I've never built a chipmunk before, and so it doesn't look peculiar to me. It looks fine. Matter of fact, let me send you a picture, John, and then Peter. I didn't put in text. I just sent you guys a picture to your cell phone.
Oh, okay.
I got to send it to myself so I can put it in the computer.
Hope my battery's up.
You're probably gonna have to enlarge it to see it a little bit better.
Just got it. All right. Take a little bit.
Modern technology.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What did we ever do without it?
I
Well,
know.
I didn't get here yet.
Modern technology just happens to be, slow. No, I don't know if you overheard the conversation we were discussing that Charles is having an issue with the when he flips the plane inverted, it rigidens up versus when it's right side up. So that's where we were discussing maybe having to move that tank, and I was having trouble visualizing how you can have space to move the tank around very much in that orientation.
Well, it sounds like the tank has to.
Yeah, in this case, be raised. Yeah.
The tank has to go up, and there is something you can do. You can open the tank back up and move the end of the uniflow up, probably say an eighth of an inch.
You can do that.
And that would do.
Yeah, that achieves the same thing. You're right. Yeah, absolutely, John. Moving the uniflow achieves the same
It
thing.
doesn't matter where the hole on the side of the front cap. You're talking about the rear cap. Open that up, and
No,
then
where you got it inside the tank, inside the tube that's inside the tank, over the uniflow tube.
Yeah.
You got it soldered in the middle of the tank.
No, I got it solid in the middle, against the side, but in the middle, right?
Raise it up an eighth of an inch and resolder it.
Okay.
Or since you're really handy making tanks, just make another one. Rather than pulling the one that you have apart, use that one somewhere else.
Don't raise it up. You got to lower it. That's the same as raising the tank.
Yeah, just remember the orientation you're going to have it in.
Yeah. Lower it 1/8 of an inch from where it's at. And then resolder it there and close the tank back up. And that'd be the same as raising the tank.
Really? Flying stunt is so confusing.
Now I'm getting confused myself.
Yeah, remember the tank is on top of the airplane, not under.
The tank is on top, so if you go inverted and you get rich, that means the tank has to go up.
Up in relation to the needle valve.
Away from the engine bearings is less confusing.
When the tank goes up, the end of the uniflow goes up as well. So that's what. Yeah, I belay that about lowering it, raise it an eighth of an inch.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Looks
Yeah.
like we have John
And
Paris.
then if it
coming
gets
in.
richer when you go inverted, forget what I said and lower it.
Yeah, I know,
That's what I like. That's what I like
Can you hear
about
me
the
okay?
RC takes, because I can sit there and twist it.
Yeah, I heard you, John. I just heard you,
Yeah.
John. But I
Okay.
don't see you, John. I hear you, but I don't see you.
I don't have
Oh,
my
I'm
camera
still
turned
here.
on. This is a tablet, and I wasn't sure. I've got it taped over right now. I'm just going to listen in.
All right. Well, cool. Well, I was just
Who's
talking.
that?
This is John
John
Paris.
Paris.
Oh, John Paris, how you doing?
Good. How are you, John?
I don't think we've had the chance to meet in person. Maybe we have.
Probably not. I
You
get out
guys
a little
should
bit, not a
have-
whole lot.
You know, you guys were at Zodak the same year I was there.
16,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we probably did meet. but didn't know. Boy,
Yep,
have we
lot
got
of,
it.
Somebody's got a delay.
Okay. Anybody got any other things on? I'm going to turn my sound, my mic off. And
No, you're sounding good now, John.
yeah, it's good now.
I think it's John Paris.
You still there, John Paris?
I think he's just going to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just, I've got my microphone on mute. I'm just listening to you guys. Down in the shop, doing some odds and ends.
All right, cool. Okay, go ahead and do your thing in the shop.
What's that?
Coming in, John.
Okay.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, so yeah, John Miller, it can be a little bit confusing. I remember one time it was when I first had my red Strega out there. This is about 3 years ago, and I was chasing my tail just to finally realize that when I had flipped the plane over, that's where I was getting confused. I thought I was going in one direction, but because I put the plane on his back, I was going in the wrong direction. So I was raising, let's say for example, I was raising the tank away from the engine bearers, but because I flipped the plane around, I wasn't raising it, I was lowering it, you know. I mean, I wasn't thinking of away from the engine bearers, I was thinking about giving it up, you know, raising it. And then, anyways, it was like 100 degrees as well, plus. And I'm going the wrong, I'm flying, why is this thing not getting better? It's like it's getting worse and worse. And I finally realized I was going in the wrong direction. I must have wasted at least 5 or 6 flights, you know. And I was just like, oh man, it's so frustrating.
I hate to say it.
So ever since then, I've made sure I refer to it as closer to the engine bearers or away from the engine bearers, not up or down, because when you flip the plane over on its back, your up becomes down and down becomes up. But always further away and closer to the engine bearers. It doesn't matter if the plane's on its wheels or if it's on its back. And I learned that from Wendy Arnowski.
One of the things that I hate to say that is another positive point for electrics.
Yeah. I was with my friend Joe Mata, and I was telling the same thing. I go, man, if Bob Hunt was here, he'd be wearing me out, and so would be Peter and even John. John Miller. I was thinking, I had just 3 guys in my head going, these guys would be wearing me out about all this time I'm wasting because I'm running IC.
Well, I like IC. Don't get me wrong.
I know you do, John. At least you still are. You still like both. You know, there's some people that are just totally gone to the dark side. And I mean, I know somebody, I'm not going to mention their names, but I know somebody who will conveniently leave as soon as someone starts their IC motor. He is conveniently unavailable to launch your plane.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not going to give his name away, but I know someone like that.
I think I know him too. Well,
you guys aren't talking about Steve Hines, are you?
I'm not saying who it is. I'm just saying that there are people who go to the dark side and then they have a disdain for that slimy, oily, and the smell and all the things we used to, you know, enjoy and appreciate. They make sure they're nowhere near that stuff. It's so funny.
Well, I frankly believe that classic designs should be flown as they were flown with IC engine, as well as old time. If they're flown on on an IC in their day, they should fly in an IC. Now, an old time, if you got, there are old time legal ships besides the Nobler that had flaps, and they take a 10-point hit if they fly an old time. So I would think that because this is my opinion, but if you're going to fly electric, which with all of its good things about it, in those classes, they might consider you take a hit on it because you no longer have the problem with the old engines or with engines at all. The motors run consistently every time. So I keep my IC engines because I like to fly classic. I keep them because I like to fly for fun. I don't fly them like I used to back in the 50s because back in the 50s, I hardly ever cleaned the oil off of them. I got to where we had to use a putty knife to clean the oil off.
Wow.
And they'd get a little heavy, and they'd try to roll in on you a little bit,
Yes, yeah.
Back in the good old days.
You remember, John, I was telling you I suspected it was the vertical CG?
Yeah.
Well, I made it. I hung the plane up before I went to the flying field this morning, and I saw that it was canted in a way that was indicative of it being that the top part of the plane was heavier than the bottom part of the plane. So I put some heavier wheels on it. Yeah, I put heavier wheels. Actually, I put clay on it first. I was determining how far off it was. So I put clay, and then when I got it to be plumbed, then I took the clay off and weighed it and see how much additional weight I needed to add to the plane. So I was going through my wheels. I found some old, dirty Dubro 2.5-inch wheels, and they were about an ounce heavier than the other wheels, and about a little bit more than an ounce, actually. And that made a difference. When I was flying today, the plane, from the hand, I could see that, it was straight. It was straight. So I have a little bit too much tip weight because I could just tell by the way it's flying, it's a little bit too much tip weight. But once I fixed that, it was kind of windy today, so the extra tip weight, I didn't think it was a problem with all the wind we have. We had wind gusts of 24 miles an hour today.
Oh, that catches your attention.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It keeps you totally.
Did the plane slow down a lot when you came into the wind? Did it stop in the wind gusts?
No, it didn't do that. But I've experienced that. I know I've had planes slow down in the wind, and that is a trip. You just have to be patient. It'll get there. It's just a little bit slower going in one direction than the other. Yeah. Especially the overhead maneuver is where it's more noticeable. For me, anyway.
Oh yeah. I was at the Golden State some years back. I was flying my Legacy, and my Legacy has a Stalker 61 on it, and
Nice.
it's plenty of power for it. But I noticed that I was getting a little yaw on the down, yawing at me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, okay, it's got a small rudder back there. Legacy has a very small rudder. So I thought, well, let me hook up a Raby rudder on it. So I did. Well, it works. I can start an outside square, and I hit that down, and I can feel it immediately. And and it really helped on the hourglass right up here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm at this contest, and I'm getting ready to fly in at the Golden State, and the wind was between 20 to 25, maybe 30 at times. It was really windy. And, I flew in winds like that in the 95 Nationals at Tri-Cities. They had a 30 knot windsock was like this.
Whoa.
And we were still flying. But, after flying like that all week long, you kind of got used to flying in the wind. But anyway, getting back to this, I'm getting in there and I'm trying to think, well, here comes my good friend Mr. Stargazer himself comes walking by, and I say, hey, come here. I got some questions to ask you. And I said, look, this wind is blowing, and I'm not used to it. Can you give me tips on it? He says, well, he says, one thing, he says, when you've got to do a maneuver, he says, you get here where you're going downwind, before you get there, you whip it up, and so you get more speed coming into your maneuver.
Right.
And I said, okay. So I said, no, I said, I've got a Raby rudder on it, but I'm still a little concerned about the hourglass. Here I am coming back up over this shoulder into the wind.
Right.
And then I've got to make a hard turn, come across, and then come back down. I said, I'm not worried too much about this corner down here or these corners. It's these two up here.
Right.
He says the same thing. He says, you need to build up some speed. You start whipping that sucker clear back here. Whipping and getting as much speed as you can coming into it. And you hit it, you know, then you come up, he says, go a little bit shallower, you know, and go up there and kind of like bang, bang, instead of bang, bang. Okay.
Okay.
You make it a little narrower, stand it up a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Well, you know, it worked. Only one problem is I was so nervous about it. I come around, I went up here, boom, and went bang, bang. I got through the maneuver, but I didn't get very good points on it.
Yes, that's funny. Yeah, I know it's managing that fear. That's a constant battle. Is just managing your fear. That's why I enjoy this hobby so much, because it's all about, to me. I mean, if I was fearless, man, I would do a rule book stunt pattern if I had no fear.
Well, yeah, we all would, except it isn't always just fear too. There's the capabilities of the airplane itself.
That's true.
It's speed management, like Fitzgerald was talking about. You know, getting extra speed at certain points in the maneuver and how you do that. There's trimming to get yourself equal turns, same inside as outside. That you don't have too much or too little flap coming in. You know, you got to get your trimming done. All of that matters, and so all of that comes into play. Now imagine, knowing what we know today and how we fly today. We fly a lot different today than we did when I was learning back in the 50s. Okay. Yep. Back in the 50s, you had a plane. Who said yep? Oh, okay. It was you. Thanks. I appreciate it. Remember I told you about flying 6-second laps, you know,
yeah,
with a Nobler and a McCoy Redhead. The Redhead was so rich, you almost didn't know it was going to take off. You know,
that is so.
Yeah, but we did it. It was, you know, and you know, I was just reading on the forum here the last couple of days. They're talking about Gieske or Giesecke. I always call him Gieske, but I understand it's Giesecke. Or if I'm wrong on that, then it's Gieske. But anyway, when he's flying his smaller 35 size top Nobler, you know, G Noblers, he flew 5 1/4, 6-second laps. He flew in the old style, but he was very good at what he did. But you know, you just had to like when you pulled for the wing over, you had to understand that right here at about 60 degrees, you started losing line tension, and overhead you had none because it was free flight. But the plane was trimmed; it would stay flat and just free flight across and hit the other end of the lines, and down you came.
Right.
They said that as he went later, before the bear, he started flying a little bit faster when he got up to Super Tiger 46 size. And then when he went to the Bear, he was almost like 5.3 to 540, somewhere in there was where he's flying those. Hey, there's Tom Rammel. Hi, Tom.
Hey guys.
You cut any more kits up?
No, but I've been working on my flight streak.
Is that it behind you there?
Yep.
Oh, it's a built-up fly streak. I didn't realize that.
Well, I kind of changed it.
So before it wasn't built up. Now it is built up, right?
Right.
So you turning it into a peacemaker or what?
Into what?
You turning it into a peacemaker?
I don't know what that is.
It's an Aldrich. It was basically he had two versions. He had a full body and he had a profile. It went over real big in the UK. It was a little bit smaller than the Flight Streak, but it was predominantly, most of them were diesel powered. Top Flight also issued the kit. I had one I sold to a fellow up in Alaska. A kit of the Peacemaker, full bodied. It had formed fuselage sides and all that. But it's basically a Flight Streak with, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller Flight Streak with a full body.
This was the plan for the profile Flight Streak, and I just cut out 2 fuselage sides, and I'm making electric, so I extended the nose a little bit, like you suggested last week, and I'm going to put the battery in the fuselage, so that's kind of why I made the fuselage the way it is.
Okay. Did you extend the tail moment a little bit?
No, I just extended the nose. I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, I thought you were asking about extending the tail moment. Extending the nose is okay because you need the room there for your battery and that's understandable. But you might want to consider moving your tail back a little bit too. To balance. You're gonna have to balance. You need the length there to do the balancing. Just do a weights and balance. The X sub 1. Yeah. Just do a weights and balance and figure out how far back you got to move your stab in the elevator.
Okay.
Do that sometime, John. I'm not familiar with that. I've been curious about that, but I'm not familiar with that.
Well, they use it in full scale aviation and everything. It's just summing the moments is what I learned it as. And check me, Tom, because I'm having to go off memory. I got it written down somewhere. It's X times X being the weight. X being the weight times the length, the distance to the balance point. Okay. Now, if plus you have all of the weights and the distances you put on one side of the equal sign. So all of the ones from the nose back to the balance point would be X times Y, X sub 2 times Y, plus X sub 2 times Y, plus X sub 3 times Y. And then when you get to the equal sign, you go X plus X times Y minus. So you on the other side of the balance point, you go to the minus. So you're adding them up. You're multiplying the distance times the weight, adding those up on one side, and on the other side, you're multiplying the distance times the weight and subtracting it. And what you want to have is all equals 0. So it's algebra. So it's algebraic formula, I believe,
Okay.
would be you wouldn't have an equal sign. There's a point where where everything's positive to this point and it's negative to this point, and that should equal 0. Now you sum all those moments up, you multiply them, add them, subtract them, and if you wind up with it all equals -1 inch, that means you need another. You need. Am I right on this, Tom? You need more length and you need weight at that length. It wouldn't be 1 inch though, would it?
No, when you do it on a full-size aircraft, what you do is you figure it with what they call standard pilot weight, and then you do it with full fuel and with no fuel, and then you figure out the range of where your center of gravity ends up and see if that's within the range of what it should be for the airplane.
Okay, well, what you can do is you can go on the internet and you can punch into your search summing the moments.
Okay.
And you'll probably come up with some X-rated some X-rated.
You should come up with what I just so clumsily tried to describe.
Summing the
I use it, but I use it like once or twice a year at the most. You know, I did it on the Vanguard to see if I was in the proper, and I had to estimate weights because it hasn't been built. With the estimated weights, which by experience I think should be fairly close, I'm really close. I don't think I'll have to do much adding very much weight either way. I should be okay, but I could be off, and I'll sum the weights again before I cut anything. And when I've got the design completely down, then I'll do it again, and I'll decide whether I need to lengthen my nose or lengthen the tail. Now I had as an example of how this can work for it, I had Sheik's Stagger Wing Beach that flew very nicely for me. And I had one of the OS's Wankel engines on the front. Now, that's a heavy engine. I think it's 16 ounces or something like that. And that was up front. Okay, so I figured, well, somebody wanted to buy that engine from me, and they offered me a lot of money for it. So yeah, okay, here it is. Well, I wanted to put a 40. Actually, I put in a Thunder Tiger GP 42 GP on it, but I knew the weight and the weight difference, so I used that formula to figure out how much further I had to extend the nose or put that engine out to get it to balance, because everything balanced with that 16 ounces. So it was real simple. I put that one, and I used basically the ratios, summing to a 0, and figured it algebraic, and it wound up I had to move the engine forward 1.7 something inches. I had to move it forward.
Right.
So I since it was set up for an RC mount in there, I just got a longer one with a longer beam on it,
Right.
and put it in there, and I moved the engine where it was. Had to build a new cowl because the cowl was too short, and right on the money.
Really?
Flew just like we did with the yeah. So it's a handy one to have, but summing the moments. I'm gonna
do that because I've been curious about that because I'm putting my Stalker 81 in this plane that was designed around a Super Tiger 60. I think they're pretty close in weight, I think.
Yeah, I think they are.
But in cases where they're not, I'm just curious, how do you do that? And summing the moments, I'm gonna look into that. That's one thing I've been curious about.
Or you might find it as some the moments, or
Okay.
some of the moments,
All righty.
but not some SOMESUM.
Charles, you talked about designing the fuel tank last week or last Monday.
Yes.
Can I share a screen that I have the math for that in case anybody else wants to
Sure.
calculate.
Sure. Great.
So here's your tank dimensions.
It's kind of pixelated. There we go.
There.
There we go. I can read it now.
So here's the math of how that's done in case you have some other dimensions and want to calculate it for a different size tank.
Great.
Like you said, yours comes out to 4.837 ounces.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what I did on the internet. Yeah, but that's great. I didn't. I remember even Jeff Riley. He was talking about divided by 1.80468. Does it go pixelated on you, or is it just on my side?
Yeah,
It bounces back and forth between it.
Okay, so it's not just me. Okay, yeah, that is very cool. I'm going to thank you very much, Tom.
Sure.
So that's length. Let me write this down here before you put it down. Length times width
Times height.
Times height.
Divided by
1.8. It's all pixelated. What is that?
1.80468.
All right, thank you. And that gives you the ounces, liquid ounces.
That gives you the liquid ounces, yes.
Okay.
That's
I
cool.
got it.
Glad
cool.
you did that.
Oh, hang on, you guys. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Oh boy, I gotta remember to pop it out. Hang on. So let's see here. Pop out.
See, if you can't be too bright, you hang around with a bunch of people that are smart. That's where you get bright.
That's what smart people do. That's what smart people do.
That's exactly right.
What was that formula for?
To figure out the liquid ounces.
Figure out how many times you cuss in an hour.
Okay. It's easy. It's just that the answer's too many.
Let me bring in a comment from the chat box, and I want to apologize to you. I think that's Brent Williams. I think Top Brent. His question is: do carbon props, AAC engines, etc., have a place in classic aeroplanes? If modern advancements were barred from classic, then VSC would be devoid of Aero Tiger, PA, and similar equipped planes. Electric is okay, is what he said.
Well, Brent's a very avid electric guy, and he's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about. But Brent, I'm not advocating that we remove modern engines. I just don't know about pipes. They've already decided that pipes weren't too welcome in classic, but I don't think they'd throw you out if you showed up with one. They just would kind of,
Look
that
at
kind
this.
of. But
Hey, cigarettes are fine. Pipes, cigars,
I like pipes. Gasicki had a pipe all the time. Okay. Okay, but modern engines. I mean, I don't see a problem with modern engines. They're IC. The idea is you have, even though the modern engines run better, you still got to get your fuel monitored properly. You get all that. Now, as far as props, as far as he's got a pipe.
You can't believe how well this regulates the RPM and how quiet it is. You
You
guys
gotta
can't
stick
even
it
hear
in
it,
the
can you?
intake. You gotta stick that in the intake.
Very
So,
good, Steve.
so getting back to try to
I don't even believe what just happened.
So,
try to
John Paris, I don't know if you could see
Oh.
what Steve was doing. He stuck a cigarette in the exhaust port of his engine.
Why doesn't John have his camera on
He's fooling around in his shop, and he's just gonna listen to the show.
with his wife?
I don't know. We'll just give him a
If it
break.
was
What are you
his
fooling
wife,
around
he could
with,
show.
John?
But back to one little point
Yeah.
I wanted to make for Brent's sake. Brent, I don't see a problem with props, whether they're carbon fiber, wood, plastic, or nylon. You know, we had them. We didn't have carbon fiber, but we had props that were made out of other materials other than wood back in the
Nylon,
classic.
plastic, and
Yeah, and
all kinds of
there's one that was some kind of precursed fiberglass and wood all mixed up and pressed together, if I remember correctly. So I don't see the problem with the carbon fiber props, fiberglass props, wood props, plastic props, nylon props. I don't see a problem with any IC engine in classic. And if somebody shows up with an electric one, I'm not going to tell me. I wouldn't tell them it can't fly. I just myself personally would not. I don't feel that classic should be flown on electric because it's kind of like the spirit of the thing, you know.
Plus, I believe if you're going to electric requires a substantial change to the airframe, the way you're mounting the engine and a lot of the other stuff that you're doing. So all of a sudden it starts taking away from the classic design of the airframe. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, well, and you're certainly allowed that, but the ones that I've seen that have showed up at VSC that have been changed to electric, they really didn't change their airframe. They managed to work it out to where it was the same airframe. It just the engine, any of the engine run problems. I mean, the electric advantage was there, you know, and kind of, you know, it's kind of like you go back to the perceived advantage in old time between an airplane that had flaps and one that didn't. You know, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got a simple question.
Okay.
I'm working on that junior ringmaster again. I'm sheeting the wing. And this is what they said to use for tip weight. This little washer. Can you imagine that? That's supposed to be the tip weight. Now, what should I be using on a 15 size airplane?
You might not need any more than that.
How much does that washer weigh?
Oh, I'm sure it doesn't weigh as much as a nickel. I don't think
it might, you know.
It's like, who cares what it is? I mean, I go to whatchamacallit. I try to go to the last time I did it, I went to a tire place, and I very politely and gently asked them if I kind of gave them an excuse. Since I have a motorcycle, I need these stick-on little wheel balancing weights. Would you happen to have some that I can that you can spare? I'll pay for them. The guy took out a strip that was about 2.5 feet long of these lead wheel balancing weights, and he just gave, here you go, take it.
Is that what I think it is, Tom? Is that? Oh no, okay.
Is that chewing gum?
That's a lead wheel weight.
Yep, exactly. That's
I think.
But it'd probably be like a half an ounce, wouldn't it? At least that you'd use.
That's
yeah. Well, you can always snip them. You always trim them down.
That looks
But
like
yeah, she just
in the old days.
Hey, Bill, I would say that washer will probably be pretty close.
Going up.
Just for the reason
In the old days,
you got it's a profile, so you got the engine hanging on that side. You're only going to be flying with what 12,000 lines, and they're only going to be what 54 feet long, and you're just overcoming the weight of the line. So it's not going to be like a plane, flying out at 70 feet, and you got a couple ounces of weight in the lines and stuff.
I think I had 3/8 of an ounce in mine. It flew great.
Are these equal panels, Phil, or not?
You know what we used for weight in the old days? The guys would be
Ambroid
building the
tubes
airplane.
rolled up.
The tip where you run out of glue, you roll a tube up and glue the tube in the wingtip.
Yeah.
Tube.
I've done that. I've done that several times. But those old tubes were made out of semi-metal, some kind of soft metal.
Yep.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavier than aluminum. I thought it was lead, but the Ambroid tube rolled up weighs 5/8 of an ounce or something like that. It wasn't super light, but it worked on a lot of planes.
Super cheap back then.
Yeah.
We get some modeling clay, and maybe go half of that washer and then trim it with modeling clay, but then you'd have to add something to it.
But you could put modeling clay. You put it on there, and you got that hole in the washer. You could fill that with modeling clay.
Yeah.
Leave it in there.
Why don't you just make a weight box and you can change it? They're not hard to make.
No.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
I
I
got
recommend
I got a question. John, how do you say Bob's last name? Because I've always called him Gieske, but that's not the way you're supposed to say it.
Well, I was reading on the hanger, and somebody said it's like Gesicki.
Well, that is the way it's spelled.
I've always called him Gieske too. Yeah, but so I don't know exactly for sure. Doug Moon would know, I guess.
I'll try to catch up with Doug, I guess. But I know the last 2 times I saw him at the Nationals, I just called him Bob Gieske. And the last time I saw him, he came walking up to me, which I was about to tickle me to pieces. He said, "Did you ever get that daggum stunt wagon flying right?" Because the year before I'd flown it, and Bob Hunt and Bill Werwood said, "Philip, I was inverted." And they said, "Philip, you're soaking us over here." Well, ain't but one liquid in the darn thing. So I flipped it back right side up. The engine quit. If they hadn't said something, I'd have tore it all to pieces. Bob said, and we were, with all the modelers there, nobody had a soldering iron that would get hot enough to solder that darn thing. But a seam had split. The only time it ever happened. I flew that thing for 10 years. That's the only time I ever had a problem with a fuel tank in it. But Bob come over and he said, "Did you ever get that thing fixed?" I said, "Well, I did when I got it back home." But one of those things. But he was such a great guy.
When I was at Brodax, I was flying John Wright's Tudor 1, and it had a leaking tank. And I think he was using JB Well, but it wasn't clean enough for it to really adhere. And that was a constant thing I was dealing with the whole week, was a leaking tank.
Bubble gum.
They had a guy use bubble gum on one and fixed it. When the alcohol hit the gum, they mashed it in there real good, and when the alcohol hit the gum, it makes it hard. I thought it'd make it gummy, but it made it hard, and it worked. It's weird. I don't know.
Interesting. That's bizarre.
I've seen you will find some things in modeling that will truly make you go, "Huh? How did that work?"
Yeah,
but
well, that's one of them, chewing gum. I have to remember that.
Yeah, it was important. Now it has to be bubble gum. The regular chewing gum won't work. I don't know what the difference is, but the guy told me, he said, "No, you got to use double bubble chewing gum."
How about bazooka?
Double bubble gum. That's what it was.
What about the bazooka chewing gum? Would that work?
I think that's the same thing. But now this guy walked around all week with, I thought he had a wad of chewing tobacco in his jaw, and it was chewing gum. He said he was an old baseball player, and he just got used to doing it. But the boy could fly. He stomped me in Classic. I mean, he stomped me, and he didn't. His plane wasn't as nice as mine, but the boy could fly. He was a mess. College kid.
I'm afraid when I get out to my first contest after all this long layout, I'm going to get stomped bad.
You know what I'm scared of?
You should be. I mean, I don't think it'd be fair if you don't get stomped bad.
When I go out,
it's going to fly the same class.
when I go out after a long layoff like this, I take my old models and fly them. But
Yeah.
but I'm telling you what, the thing that always gets me is when you go inverted and you got to do those 6 laps inverted. By the 4th lap, I'm starting to feel funny. By the 6th lap, I'm getting drunk. But thank goodness then I get to stop and do something. Good grief.
Yeah.
But to answer that other question about the electric, I have a Nobler that I fly, have flown the last 2 years in about everything. But when it comes to classic, I lay that down, pick up an IC motor. I don't think it's fair to compete against guys that come out there with Fox 35s and OS 35s, and you got an electric. You know you're not going to have a problem. They are.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, and hi, Gary.
Hi.
Keep an eye on that guy in the corner. He looks shifty. How are you, Mr. Smith? Turn your mic on. Unmute your mic.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a mic. Neither do
You over here.
You're going to turn it way up. I just barely hear you.
We got John Paris here too, for those that don't know yet.
Oh, good. No, you got to turn something up or unmute it. It's no fun to talk about you if you can't talk back.
He must be hearing us.
Yeah, he can hear us, Stubby.
He can hear us, but we can't hear him. I never like to kick a guy when he's down. Get everything working, then we'll give you a hard time.
Except if your name is Steve.
Oh, Steve. And I think Steve would get mad at us if we didn't give him a hard time.
Yeah.
But
I
buddy,
think
when
so,
he gets wound up, he gets wound up.
Yeah.
I think we didn't like him if.
That's what I mean. You got to give Steve a hard time, or he thinks you don't like him no more. Got it working yet?
He's got his sound off. Look at that.
He's got his sound.
He must have said a couple of $2 words.
Uh-oh.
He's
Uh-oh.
still talking.
Yeah, and no, he's not coming across at all. Your mics are turned off,
I
Steve.
see your mouth moving, but
Steve's
you're not
muted.
saying nothing.
Come on, Steve. You're usually louder
I
than
keep
that.
trying to unmute you.
There you
myself.
go.
No,
There you
I'm
go.
doing laundry, and the thing went into spin mode and was trying to walk across the floor, so I
Oh, yeah.
muted my mic.
Yeah. Has Mr.
Likely
Smith got his act
you-
together yet? Can you talk yet? No,
Jim?
we can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I think it's when he moves his mic. Do you have a bad connection on the mic?
He must have. Bobby's coming in.
Yeah, Bob Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob Hunt's coming in. Wow, all right.
How about that?
There you are.
Oh, we hear you.
Yeah, we hear you now.
There's Bobby.
Hey!
Hey, Bob.
Okay.
No.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too. Shall
Oh,
we?
Yeah.
man, I'm still
Yeah.
enjoying Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we tried to be safe and did that outdoor Thanksgiving. Turkey ain't worth a shit frozen.
Oh, we're in the jar. Oh, we're in the jar.
It's a
I
hard
tell you
chew,
what.
isn't it?
You should have known as cold as it is
Actually,
where you
it
are.
chewed pretty easy. My teeth were chattering so hard that it chewed it for me.
Help you to chew.
Yeah.
Lord.
Oh,
I'm
my
telling you.
goodness.
So I just got a message.
Did you
from
sit up
Eddie.
all night figuring that one out there, Steve?
No, I just,
Message from who?
once I went
Eddie,
outside and took my mom's meal and stuff over to her because I cooked and everything and took it over to her. It was so cold. I'm like, I can't imagine these people outside in a tent with a heater going or whatever, trying to do an outside deal.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. There's people that did it.
Yeah.
Charles is trying to say something.
Yeah, so Eddie Sutter's out there on the chat, and he said he's trying to get in. So hopefully he'll be able to join us.
Well,
Yeah, don't get
unblock him, Charles. Don't be so mean to these people.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, email me your address.
Okay.
I will send you some surgical glue.
All right.
Nice.
It's made for urethane coatings.
All right. You want me to stick it in the little?
No, I don't want you to stick it in no private message because then I got to get it out.
So on here, Steve,
Stop
we have
lying at
it. It's easy. It's right here. It's on the bottom left. You'll see 3 icons there, and the furthest one to the left, you click on that, and that's where Steve can he'll put the address there. No one else can see it. If you want, you can do it private.
Oh, was this type of message?
Yep.
Yeah, it says open or close chat.
I'll put my address in there. Everybody can see it. So anyone wants to send me a Christmas present, just feel free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, we had a question come up, and I think you can answer this for us.
Okay.
How do you pronounce Bob Gieski's last name? Gieski or Gasicki?
Gieski.
Gieski.
Just like you said.
Okay.
I did say it right then. Okay, good.
That's pronounced. If the last name is pronounced, it's Gieski.
Well, I got your name, Steve.
Yeah.
It's pronounced Bob.
There you go.
Bob.
You know, I grew up thinking.
Does anybody know how he got his name, the Bear?
No.
Yeah, that's what I always called him at the last, just Bear.
Yeah,
He seemed to like it.
Nobody knows that story?
No. I don't.
It happened in 1974 in Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia, Rada Kravole, Czechoslovakia, at the World Championships. And the dormitories they were staying in had very, very thin walls. And Bob would snore quite loudly. And Billy Weirwood walked in and said, "Gee whiz, Bob," he said, "you sound like a big old hairy bear." And that's how he got his name, the Bear. Billy Weirwood.
I'll be darned. That's pretty neat.
Very interesting.
There you go, Jim.
I got you, Steve.
You know, I have a good friend as a modeler, and we used to go to contests of that, and sometimes we'd share a room, and he snores. So do I. So it was a good match. But he has sleep apnea really bad. And so you'll be sitting there, and he'll be sawing logs, and all of a sudden he'll stop, and you wake up, and you're waiting for him to start again, and then finally he'll start. And each time you're wondering whether he's going to restart. That's worse than just having him snore.
Yeah. I have sleep apnea, and my wife she couldn't sleep unless she heard me breathing. So she would not rest sometimes unless she heard me breathing. Yeah. But now I have a CPAP machine, and now I don't make a sound when I sleep. I mean, my problem now is that because I don't snore, I hear everything, and I wake up really easy now.
Well, I do that, but I don't have a CPAP.
When I used
a light sleeper.
When I used to fly glow, I snored. But now that I fly electric, I'm totally silent at night.
Now you just
let me talk to your wife and see if she agrees with that comment.
She snores. She snores.
Oh, okay.
And my dog snores.
We have a. I bet he can't keep up with my daughter's Chiweenie. That's the loudest snoring dog I ever seen in my life. But that thing, we've got a buddy that I travel with a lot, or used to when we go to contests, and he has sleep apnea. But his first CPAP machine, honest to goodness, he sounded like Darth Vader all night long. Man, that was hard to sleep through. Whew.
Oh.
sharing a room with him was misery, but now he's got one you hardly hear it at all.
Yeah.
But that old one was sounded just like Darth Vader, just oh, it was awful all night long.
Well,
I
have sleep apnea as well, and I have a CPAP.
Yeah.
And I love my CPAP because I would wake up in the middle of the night in a panic because I wasn't getting any air, and it'd wake me up.
Yeah.
And I'd be so much of a panic, I couldn't get back to sleep. And so here I am at 3:30 in the morning, putting my clothes on and that, and take a hike around, around town there, trying to get myself to where I could go back to sleep. So I get back at 3 o'clock, go to sleep, and I got to get up at 7. So I love my CPAP.
What's crazy is that we got my mom one of them Apple Watches, and she snores, and if she goes into that deal with the seat where she doesn't breathe, the watch wakes her up.
Oh, really?
Wow. And it comes up on the screen says it takes so many deep breaths.
Whoa,
they're pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I used to I ride bicycles a lot, and I used to wear a chest monitor thing to keep up with my pulse and everything. Anyway, this thing does it all now. It just keeps up with everything, and you get back and you don't even have to plug it in. It transmits to your telephone and your tablet and your computer, and at the end of the month, you get a readout of what all you did every ride. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, my sister uses one.
Yeah.
I've never worn a watch, so I don't need an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I got enough of them going off.
All my buddies are ragging me. Why does a guy your age still ride a bicycle? I said, well, I can't run because I got a bad back from all the climbing poles. So it's about the only exercise I get. And he says, why do you ride a bike? Because I want to live to see my grandkids grow up.
Amen. All right.
Everybody in my family's got heart disease on mama's side, and then just found out daddy's side did too. So, well, anyway, I'm trying to keep from getting it. I don't want it.
Hey, Steve, you're getting so good at typing. Why don't you send me your email address and your phone number while you're at it?
Oh, okay.
Steve's pretty good at a lot of things.
Not really. You see, I messed that up.
Yeah, typing is not one of them.
And just don't loan him your brand new airplane to test fly.
Well, what it is that I thought that I could, hit return, and it would start another line.
Oh,
but
no.
when I hit return it sends it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told you last week that I found the Vanguard, the drawing for the Vanguard, in the file.
Yeah.
That I thought I'd lost it, and so I thought I lost about a half a year's worth of work on it, and so I had found an earlier version, and I was starting to try to get it back to where it was. It just wasn't looking right. And anyway, so I found it. I've been having more fun since I told you guys that. I've been updating that thing, and it looks like I might actually have it done here soon, where I can start cutting wood for it as soon as I get the shop set up. And I'm tickled to death because I really need to get building something. But you've probably all lost files at one time or another to something.
Oh yeah.
But when you lose a CAD file and you're 3/4 of the way done with it, and you got lots, that just is heartbreaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't back them up to a external drive?
I did back it up. I actually backed it up, but I had it on an external thumb drive actually, and I was going through cleaning up some old files and I actually accidentally deleted it. So it wasn't. It was my fault. I deleted it, but what I found out just the other day was that I had actually put it over. I put a copy over on another thumb drive that I had, and so I was able to get back just about the point where I deleted it. So I might have lost maybe an hour or two's worth of work.
Hey,
Did you, see
John.
did you get my email, Jim?
Yeah, you're quite the typer.
Did you figure out? Did you figure out how I got the first part of my email?
Yeah, I think so. Cedar Leaf Drive Northeast, right?
No, my email address.
Oh, it looks like moonshines.
It's just Shines. Steve Hines, S. Hines.
Yes, S.
Your
Hines.
name.
I just copied it, Steve.
Oh, okay.
With a keyboard command, no less. I'll have to teach you some one day.
Yeah. You can where in the hell do you copy it to, though?
I have my Google Contacts
Oh.
open in another window, in another tab. And so I just copy it here. And then I flip over to the other tab. And I already had one for you. But I don't know what it had on it. It didn't have your phone, your email, or your address. But
now you got it all.
I had your name.
Hey, if you call and some girl answers, get her name because I want to find out who it is.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it for you.
Dirty old man. Crazy.
In other words, it's highlight it, Control C, Control V, Control C to copy, Control V to paste.
Yeah.
That's too much to remember.
Unless you're a Mac user, and then
here's my Control P.
Right. Bob, I was gonna call you.
Is that what you're typing with?
Try to get the figure out how to get the plans to Usahama, but one of my buddies gave me a set this week.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I got tickled when Billy drew that thing. He drew the tank. He drew the tank the way you always draw them, figuring it's a counterclockwise flying plane, and then drew the long lead outs over to the other side. And I said, no. That would put the wedge to the inside. Billy got confused when he drew that plan up. That was fun. That was kind of cute. I like that.
Well,
I said,
you got one drawn up by Billy Warwich?
No, it wasn't Warwich. It's Billy Simmons, or I go get the plans and look. I think I took them downstairs, but they're Bill Simmons, I think, is one drew it or inked it.
Now, is that the same plans that you sent me, Bob?
What
You draw yourself.
What are we talking about?
The Usahama.
Usahama. I drew that, and then I sent it off to Bob Kruger, and he did the CAD work on it. I sent him a pencil, and he did the CAD work.
Well, you must have a new one, and this one I've got drawn by Bill Simmons.
Bill Simons.
Simons, yeah.
Actually, the original Stunt Machine was drawn by a guy named Paul Simons.
Oh, Lord.
not the guitar player.
Not Simon.
Not the Garfunkel guy?
No,
what's that?
Not him.
Not the Garfunkel guy?
Not the Garfunkel. No. When he was a player who drew up the Stunt Machine, the United, the F-86 Sabre, Bob Lampioni's. He drew up a bunch of them, and he drew every one of them wrong. He didn't know anything about airfoils or anything, and he just figured that one airfoil is as good as another. So the original Stunt Machine that's published in Flying Models is nowhere like the actual Stunt Machine.
Oh,
and
shoot.
the reason I know that is because I owned the Stunt Machine. Gene gave it to me, and I had it for many years. And eventually we got it to his daughter, who was estranged from him when she was very young. And she got in touch with me, and she wanted to know more about her dad. And I made arrangements because Lou Walgast had been storing the Stunt Machine for me at his house when I was living in an apartment. And when he moved out to Arizona, he took it with him and kept it out there. And when she got in touch with me to find out more about her dad, I made arrangements for Ted Fancher, because she lived up around Oakland. I had Teddy Fancher pick it up from Louis at VSC and drive it up and invite her over. And then we did a thing in Stunt News about her coming over to get the airplane, which was pretty neat. She got her dad's airplane.
Oh, that's very
And
neat.
I still need to get up with you and get a copy of that airplane.
Yeah, you need to call
Bob.
Bob.
The right one.
They're a nice
the right
plan.
one.
Yeah.
So the funny part of that story is that years later, Warren Tiart called me up and he said, I understand there's a story about the stunt machine. And I said, yeah. And I explained to him that, about the Paul Simon thing where he just drew it and Gene never checked it and it went to publication. And he forgot where I was going with it. Oh yeah. So anyway, Warren T.R. said, well, I'd like to build one, but I'd like to build one that's actually accurate to Gene's airplane. And I said, well, just go over to Louis' house and pick up. He didn't know Louis had it. I said, well, the airplane's 10 minutes from you. Just go pick it up and measure it. And he said, it was like this long pause. He says, what? I said, it's 10 minutes from you. Go pick it up. It was like a surreal moment when he didn't realize this airplane from 30, 40 years ago was like 10 minutes from him.
Yeah.
And he over and picked it up from Louis and took it home and compared it to the plans and made all the modifications, all the corrections onto a master plan and sent it to me. And I never did anything with it, but I understand Tom Dixon got a copy of that, and he did a set of plans to it. So they are currently the corrected plans are available.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. There's a story behind every one of these airplanes.
Speaking of Warren T.R.
Yeah.
Just as you mentioned his name, I'm looking up at a 1998 Stunt News, September, October. And guess what pops up? An article by Warren T.R. for the 1998 Nationals.
There you go. Yeah.
That's scary.
I got to tell you, funny. We used to Billy Weirich and Bobby McDonald and I used to stay at Warren's house. We were invited to stay there for, I don't know, 8-9 years when we went out to VSC. I'd fly out and they'd pick me up, and Billy and Bobby would drive out. But we'd all stay at Warren's house. And if you ever met Warren or his wife, Barbara, they're from Michigan. Michigan types are, very specific, very specific type of people, and they're very, very on the point. And she was into trivia. And so was I. So we did trivia every night. And we got talking one night about the movie Back to the Future. And she said, oh, I love that movie. I love the father in there, Matthew Modine. And I said, no, it wasn't Matthew Modine. It was Crispin Glover. She said, no, it was Matthew Modine. And I said, no, it was Crispin Glover. She says, you want to bet? In her very Michigan way. You want to bet? And I said, sure. So she said, okay, $20. And she looked it up, on the internet, and sure enough, it was Crispin Glover, like I said. So she goes to her purse and she pulls out $20 and she throws it at me. Right? so I said, Barbara, I'm not taking your money. I'm living at your house. You're feeding us. I said, this is all for fun. She said, no, a bet's a bet, and you take the 20. I said, I'm not taking the money.
Right.
So every morning, this was early in the week. So every morning on the breakfast table was a $20 bill, and it sat there for the whole week. And at the end of the week, we were getting ready to leave, and neither one of us bought anything to put our dirty clothes in. So she said, do you guys need plastic bags for your dirty clothes? And we all said, yeah.
Oh, no, I know what happened.
So she goes to Bobby. She says, Bobby, here's your bag. And she goes and gets another bag. She goes to me. She said, yours, Bob, is $20.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
So Crispin Glover was actually only in the first Back to the Future.
Yeah.
He wanted too much money for the second one, and he was such a weirdo. They didn't bring it back for Back to the Future 2, and they put a guy in a Crispin Glover look-alike rubber mask.
Wow.
He was not in the second movie.
Wow.
And if you watch the second movie, there's only just a few seconds of video of the dad, of Marty McFly's dad in the video, because they don't want it. He has no close-up and nothing like that. So, yeah, Crispin was only in the first movie, and then some unknown guy was wearing a rubber mask in the second one. Since you were talking about trivia, there's some more for you.
You want to know something else about people from Michigan? They swear. They swear a lot.
All right, Eddie, go ahead,
Eddie's got his hand up, guys.
Charles, I just want to say thanks for unblocking me so I could get in.
Oh, you're welcome, man.
You sure they have to read it?
PayPal them $20 like the rest of us have to.
Yeah, I ain't got $20. Y'all was talking earlier. I was trying to get on. Y'all was talking about using the chewing gum. The chewing gum also works in gas tanks on your car. If you got a pinhole, you can chew the gum, make it into a little spear, like a as small as it'll go. Shove it in the gas tank, and then when that gas hits it, it hardens up, and it'll get you to a repair shop.
Yeah, they're going to drill it out with JB Weld in it.
That's why no Scottish people like me chew bubble gum. We drink too much alcohol. We'd have big old hard.
Clog you up on the way out.
Never mind.
But for a true Scot, big boy, that's normal to be.
I got a question for you guys while I got a bunch of you on here. While I got a bunch of you on here.
Got in. My goodness, Canada has arrived.
Hey man,
go AMA.
Go ahead, Ed.
The AMA. If you join AMA, and they give you a number, is that your number for life?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So if you join AMA, you get a number, and then
you can change it.
And you don't do anything for 2 or 3 years, and you sign up again. Do you keep that same number?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to quote and come back. My browser's being awful again.
What?
If it hasn't been reissued, you can request it, and they'll give it to you.
Because I wonder if you've got your numbers on all your planes and they're painted on, then you'd have to repaint all your numbers.
Yeah, just as an example, when I got injured in that and I stopped flying competitively, I did not. I dropped my AMA, and here just this year I picked it back up and I called them, to do it. I said, "Well, now am I going to be able to keep my old number?" "Oh yeah, it's available." So they gave me my old number. I said, "Well, I was a leader member. Am I going to keep that?" "Oh yeah." So I've got that, and I said, "I also was a contest director. Is that?" "Yeah, that's all. I got everything." So it's if it hasn't been reassigned, you can get it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got mine from when I was a kid. 20 years later, me and Wayne both got ours. Same number.
I re-upped about 10 years ago and asked for my dad's number, and they gave me my dad's old number because it was still.
Yeah.
Well, John, next time we're at a contest, we'll get together and we can play Follow the Leader.
I'm not following that.
Oh, Steve. You're bad.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you something. You said you were storing your CAD files on a flash drive.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea because flash drives.
Oh, there you go. Usama.
Yep.
Flash drives can eventually go bad all by themselves. And so what you ought to consider is if you have a Windows machine, you can get them for dirt cheap. Get you a USB. If you can get a solid state one, that's good. If not, just a regular one.
There you go.
That's what you need right there.
How about a 4 gig?
That should work.
I got one no bigger than that. It's 3 terabytes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, this is a 4 terabyte. Yeah, not 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's 5 terabyte there.
Yeah,
my wife's got a 5, but I've got a 3. Mine's old.
The thing
I was
is
thinking to get that. I just put pictures.
All the drawings that I have don't take more than a gig or gig and a half. No, they don't take a gig. All the drawings. So
yeah, you don't need that much, but I'll tell you another thing too. Just like a flash drive can go bad, these other drives can go bad.
They can all go bad.
If
They can
you
all go
have, yeah, if you have a cloud account somewhere through Gmail or, I don't know, if you use Office, like Office 365, they give you, a couple terabytes worth of space on the cloud. So I back up to a couple clouds and to the external drive, so I don't lose anything. Because it's easy to lose stuff.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I got the first batch I lost, and that's why this is why I started backing up to multiple drives. I had some kind of a bug got in there, and some virus got in there, and just went through. I lost everything that was on that drive eventually at the end. But this loss of this one drawing was my fault. I was transferring from hard drive on the one machine over to another, and I wound up. I was getting rid of so I don't know about you, but when I do CAD work, I'll wind up. I'll save various times along the versions, and I'll save them because there's something. Well, anyway, when I get it all done and I don't need them anymore, they're still there taking up room. So I thought, well, I'll get rid of these, so I'm getting rid of them.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that I got rid of the main one, and I had already taken it off the other drive. Anyway, so I had, as far as I knew, I didn't have it. I looked, I couldn't find it. I came across it last week, and there it was.
That's good.
I was really happy about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But one of those old drives.
You can't back up enough to enough drives. You really can't.
Yeah.
And I don't when I do backups, even though I use all Apple stuff, and they have a backup program called Time Machine. I don't use any of those kind of programs. None. I just physically drag those files to wherever I want them to go, because I've had problems in the past with backup software not working exactly like it's supposed to, and you end up with nothing. I don't like ending up with nothing.
See this one here?
Yeah.
That whole drive that I got got lost, got lost in my computer.
Yeah.
It's all in here.
Yeah. That's a good thing about it.
Yeah.
But the problem
I don't like about it
is the program that allows me to get stuff out of here was on there, and I can't get them off.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. And so they're in here. I've left them. I haven't written over them or anything because I might figure out one of these days or have somebody show me how to get them off of here. So they stay in a drawer here.
Well, I've had the Apple engineers try to get them off of Time Machine before, and they couldn't do it. So I just don't trust them anymore.
I hear you.
Well, I tell you what, using the cloud, your stuff does get, other people can look at it, because I've seen some of my pictures that I took at Good Guys that had not been sold yet, showed up on the internet. I know I took them because they had my mark down in the corner. So that stuff can get out. If you think you're taking it, you're saving it to the cloud, and nobody can touch it, it's secure. Not necessarily.
Yeah, when them clouds start raining, people get all your information.
Yeah, I mean that.
Well, they got your computer. If somebody hacks your computer, they can get to all your hard drives, flash drives, everything.
Yeah.
So you always have that.
I still have my college papers backed up.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, but do you have a
How the hell I get them off of here? I have no idea, but they're backed up.
I was going to say, how in the world do you have anything to read them? I haven't seen discs like that in a long time.
I got a couple of those drives set aside somewhere. I'll send you one.
That's the same problem we all have, Steve. Our hard drives done gone floppy.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Steve.
Oh,
Steve,
that's
Steve, were your college files in Sanskrit?
Yep. Arabic.
Ooh.
Rewritable
Arabic.
CDs are pretty good too, like Pete showing for you know, as you
My master files, the original master files, they'll go on optical disc. That's these. I'll always have the base files or the base design. Anything newer or that I work on will go out on the cloud or whatever. But the originals, they all exist on here.
just
As long
don't
as
lose.
the format's the same.
Just don't
See, I
lose.
was thinking, what was it? What was it, like a 5-inch floppy? I transferred them all on these.
3.5.
3 1/4.
Get them off a 3.5 floppy disk and put it on that. Yeah.
Yeah. What size are these then?
3.5.
2 1/4.
Oh, them are 2 1/4.
3 1/4.
Hey, Phil.
3 1/4.
Yeah, they were on the big ones. I put them on that, and then there we go. Tom's got
There you
one.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Small ones, I think.
We got one of those.
Was that a 5-inch one?
Yeah.
I think that's a 5.
That's a 5-inch.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, that's
Phil,
a
you
whopper,
talking
man.
earlier.
What'd that hold? About 3 megabytes?
No, not even that.
It's more like 150K.
So,
I tell you what.
720K, I think.
We had a guy at work that was
720K. That's what they were. Yeah.
we had a guy at work that was the absolute city guru on computers, and he had everything stored on floppies like that and would not change. The computers would no longer accept floppy disks, so he carried an external drive and would plug it into the computer. It looked like he was putting one of those small floppies in the computer, had a wire coming off of it, and went to his other reader. I thought, oh, that's just too much trouble. But he made it work. When he retired, think of it this way: when he retired, nobody could mess with his old files. He had to leave everything, but nobody could do anything with it because nobody could read it. Look what
Phil, you were
Peter's got
talking
there
about
now.
getting beat earlier or going to
Yeah.
contests. He's talking about going to contests earlier. That young fella right there is the one you're going to have to worry about.
Oh, I know he's going to be a pain in my backside next year. But that's all right. See that old man sitting there with him? He's going to be just as big a pain as his.
He ain't listening either.
Hey,
Mike.
Phil.
Hey, Mike, you got the vector all done?
That's sharp.
You got the
No.
vector? Is that a vector done behind you?
No, that's my SV back there. That's
it's just me.
That's mine.
Oh, okay.
No, we did a bi-slob today. We did a bi-slob today, the one that Richard Oliver gave Sam at Baton Rouge contest. We started it at 4:00 and we're just finishing up. And Sam's been in here helping me all day. He did most of the assembly on it. We've been working together on it.
Cool.
So
You get the,
he's just putting the motor.
you get the motor on there right?
I don't know if he did or
My
not. I'll have to
propeller.
look at it when he's done, man.
It doesn't tell you that, but you put a Fox on there and the propeller hits. You don't have an extension.
Oh yeah, you got to. We'll be getting the Dremel out here in a minute to cut that off.
Hey, Phil.
Yes, sir.
This is for you.
Oh,
There you go.
hang on just a second. I got a picture of it. That's sharp.
Isn't that nice? Yeah.
Now
It's got a lot of
That
bronze
is-
on it.
That's a Nusa Ama.
That's Bobby's airplane. I know I can look at one of Bobby's airplanes and know from the color, but I also know his 1114. That's sharp.
Yeah,
That's what it had,
Sharp.
50 pounds of that left.
Bobby, I want plans to that. I want to build that. The
Well,
first
Pampa
time
has
Gene
the
came,
plans for it. We donated it to Pampa.
yeah, I know, but I can't find out how to get it from Pampa because I can't get anybody down there to answer.
All right, call Dave Tribble and tell him that you want a set of plans. Tell him Bob can go get them and ship them to you because the place is like 3 miles from me that does our plans work for Pampa. And I
Okay.
can do it for you, but I have to have his clearance to do it. I just can't go down there and,
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. I'll try to call him tomorrow or Monday one. But I appreciate that. That's sharp.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what he was. I think that's what he was flying the first time he came to Winston-Salem, and he flew against the 700. Les McDonald was flying the 700, the first big stiletto.
Mhm.
Man, that was a heck of a contest. But I'm out there trying to figure out what's going on, and
I'm pretty sure he didn't have the Usama then. The Usama
no,
was,
it wasn't.
was
It wasn't
19.
Usama. Yeah, it was 1973. Yeah, 1973.
The 700 was 75.
Oh, okay.
But you have to remember, you have to fly clockwise. It does. The original did not fly counterclockwise.
Yeah, good luck with that,
Well,
Charles.
I know the first time that I judged the two of
Philip.
them, Les took off. Les was here, and he had his buddy, and usually I can think of his friend's name. He was a roofer, and he was also from Miami. He had a brown Stiletto 660, and I'll think of his name in a minute. But anyway, those two just flew.
That was Vince Schnitzer.
Vince Schnitzer, that's it. But those two flew, and then Gene flew, and Gene took off, and he's flying the wrong direction, and it takes you back a second. You just, huh? And then you have to figure it out. You have to figure out what you're doing there for a second, because
No, is the one on screen now?
red, white, and blue. Yes,
that's the original Usama. That's Gene's.
that's nice. I like that. That is nice.
Yep.
I remember I only got to judge Gene, I think, twice.
Oh.
But he was a heck of a guy. He come over and he says, "You know, I was worried when you came over because I've never seen you fly. But I said, I don't get to fly at these things. I always have to work them."
Yeah.
But he said, "Your scores are right in there with everybody else's." There was 3 of us. And he said, "You're right in there, but you seem to have one thing the others don't have." What's that? He says, "You're more consistent. You just seem to be more consistent." I thought that was about as high a praise as I could ever expect to get from a competitor. I thought he was just really cool. He was a class act. I said, "You got to tell you, when you took off first time," I said, "Huh?" The only thing I noticed, I didn't see till about halfway of his takeoff because I was so stunned that it went the wrong way. But he was at half a lap. He's 18, 19 inches in the air and holding it there. And he starts bringing it up just 4 feet at one lap. I think he was actually the first competitor I ever saw do that consistently, that did it as consistently. Then Les McDonald caught on to it. He was the next one that I really noticed. And then I saw Bobby down in Atlanta, and he was doing it. Well, everybody down there, it was team trials, and everybody was doing it down there. But Gene, there's something about Gene. He stuck with you. He was really just a class act. He and Les McDonald were both just class acts. Bobby, all those guys back then, just really classy. I even like Al Raby. I think the world of Al Raby. Now, he's a guy that people either love or hate, but I think the world of him. I'd do anything for him. And another one is flew the FW-190 down there. And any other time I think of his name right off the top of my head. Keith Trossel. I think the world of Keith. He's a mess. But if Keith tells you something, he's like talking to Bobby. If he tells you something, you can count on it. You don't have to question it. But he's a mess. I'm telling you, that man is smart. Well, Bobby is too. But he's listening. I don't want to give him a big head. So.
You guys are talking about converting floppy or old floppy drives. This is a drive out of a laptop for 3.5 inch floppy.
Yeah.
And it has this is removed from the laptop, but it has a USB port. You can just plug a USB cable right into there. Plug this into your computer.
Yeah, that would work.
And then you can have access to a floppy drive.
Well, you would have had to known Bill. Bill was different. He did things his own way. And it was so nobody else could do it because nobody else would go to all the trouble he went to. But he was a heck of a tech now, I'm telling you.
Nobody actually answered earlier about what the formula was for.
Fuel tank capacity.
Oh,
take the length, take the size of the tank and measure the length times the width times the depth, and then divide that by 1.80468, and you get the capacity of the tank in ounces.
All right.
That work for batteries too?
No, no batteries. Batteries, you got to have one of these sporadic ohmotron meters. I have a few of those.
A flux capacitor.
That's it.
Yeah.
I get done here, I got to charge about 8 batteries to get ready to go in the morning.
I was out flying today, and my son picked up something from Tommy Hampshire. Oh, there it is. You got your.
There you go, Steve.
All right.
My son picked up something from Tommy Hampshire and put it on his airplane, and I liked it so much that I decided to try it today, and it really works. I can show it to you if you want to see it. It's really subtle. I don't know if it'll show up on this or not, but
what is it?
Well, it's hinge sealing.
Oh, and he put it as trip plates.
No, it's not trip tape. This is hinge sealing. Now, I don't know. We're gonna have to enlarge this. Hold on a second.
Set it up.
I can see what we're doing here. All right. Now, if you can see this or not, there's tape. That's how do I see this? I can't even get it to peel up. Anyway, what he does is he puts tape on top of tape, and then he nails it down to the top of the wing, and the tape goes out over the hinge line, top and bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. But
it
doesn't impede the movement at all, and you can hardly see it. But it's on both top and bottom. It goes out over the flap. It's attached to the wing, goes out over the flap on top and bottom, and it prevents the air from getting back through the hinge line. And it doesn't
is cool.
The movement. It's pretty cool.
What kind of tape is that, Bob?
He's using some kind of a Scotch brand tape. I'm not sure what the number is, but I can find out for next time. It's hard to see it.
Shiny or kind of dull?
Probably magic transparent.
I don't know if you can see it or not.
You
can
see it.
Was it taping down a piece of plastic?
He puts tape on top of tape and leaves. I don't know how to explain this.
Yeah, it doesn't say how he
the only tape that
gets rid of the sticky.
The only tape that's exposed that has sticky on it is what goes on the wing, on the actual fixed surface, and then the rest of it.
What an awesome! Yeah,
That's
that's awesome.
You can see it or not.
I gotta try it because I hate the old style way of doing it. It's all click, click, click.
Me too. It makes it so stiff.
Whose idea was that, Bob?
That's awesome.
Tom Hampshire.
Really?
Yep.
That's brilliant.
It's similar to what you can do with a super monocone. You take 2 strips of super monocone, put them adhesive side to adhesive side, and then you run the very, very edge, or the edge of an iron, and you just seal a line across the middle. Then now you have 2 adhesive. You basically have an X. You slip that X through the gap. So you have one side on top, one side on the bottom, and you just seal that down. You have pretty much the same deal. It's like you take if he's doing it the same way.
That's different.
Except none of this goes through the gap.
I know.
None of this goes into the gap. It's all above the gap.
Yeah, that's straight across.
You take half the width of the tape and you cut a slit or cut another piece of tape that's half that distance. Run it on there, and then the sticky part
goes in the middle.
Yeah.
Have you guys fold it on itself like that? Fold it on itself like that, and then stick that on the lead. Stick this part that's showing there. Put that on the back side of the wing. Then this part here would be rubbing on the flap as the flap deflects and goes up and down.
Right.
Okay. I'll do that tomorrow.
It really works great.
I'll try that.
Morning.
Have you guys ever heard of Blenderm tape?
Yes, I've used it.
Yeah, it's a lot of indoor guys. That's all we use for hinges on the little RC guys. It's much more flexible and stretchy than a Scotch tape.
What's the name of it?
It's called Blenderm. Blenderm.
Blenderm.
Yes, and it's a surgical tape.
Okay.
Where do you get that at?
Okay.
You can get it at a hobby
Cool.
shop.
Really?
If they sell, indoor RC foamies.
You can get it at a what?
And a lot of hobby shops carry it.
A hobby shop? What's a hobby shop?
Hobby shop.
We got one in the state left. What's a hobby shop?
Well, you can also order it online.
Yeah. What's a hobby shop?
Hey, I
got
tried to
3 of
find
them
those
down
MPI
here.
spinners. I tried to find those MPI spinners that Steve was talking about. Man, my hobby shop, the guy at the hobby shop says, "What the heck are you talking about? MP? You mean MXI?" I said, "No, I mean MPI." And he wouldn't. I don't even think he's trying to find the stupid things. I'm about ready to ask Steve if he can order me one, and I pay him for it.
Have
I'd
him
like to
look
try
up
one.
Max Products. MAX.
I did that, Steve. I did that, and
he couldn't find that either.
Yeah,
he says he can't get the stuff anymore.
What is MPI out of business or something?
No,
All right.
I looked at their website today. It's up and running, and it looks like they just updated it. They're doing fine.
They're
He's
not
just too lazy to look it up.
Oh, that's who you called.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't look up Max Products. I would call them a hobby shop. We have one left in the state. I used to have 6 within 20 minutes. I've got one hobby shop left in the state. That's in he's right near almost to High Point. I forgot the name of the area he's in.
Hey,
Thomasville.
Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
There are no hobby shops in the Tampa Bay area. I was looking. There's not even one within 100 miles of here.
Yeah, no, they're not so much. They're in Tampa Bay, I said.
No, I haven't.
St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg.
Cool.
Phil's Hobby Shop in St. Petersburg on Gandy Boulevard.
Tampa Bay.
That thing's still there.
Tampa Bay, isn't that where old quarterbacks go to retire?
That's it.
That would be it.
That's it.
Phil's Hobby Shop. I was doing
Well, if they're any good, then we trade them when they're young.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bad part is that the trade that New England made, they got a worse quarterback for. Yeah. We only got one this year.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Are you anywhere near Orlando?
I can't find fuel anywhere.
About an hour and a half from Orlando.
There used to be a hobby shop in Orlando. I walked into it last time I was down there.
It's called
Yeah,
Great.
they had
They just got a whole. That's the one with the whole wall of kits.
whole wall of kits and the whole ceiling. You can't see the ceiling for all the models hanging from it.
That's Graves RC.
Graves RC. I want to get down there one of these days. See that
Yeah,
place
they have
again.
a website. You can order, but
there is that one hobby shop in Charlotte. It went out of business.
I don't know. If it's there, I haven't found it. I don't know where it could be.
Hobby something.
Hobby something.
Yeah, but they were all over the place. We had one up here too, and then they went out.
Oh, you talking about Hobby Town?
Hobby Town.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, they don't
that
sell
thing's
much
gone.
at Hobby Town.
The last time I went in Hobby Town, I was trying to buy a gallon of fuel and they wanted $27 for a gallon of 5%. And the guys were sitting at a table up front playing Dungeons and Dragons and would not get up to even check me out. I left the stuff laying on the counter and left.
Charles was taking a note over here.
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyways,
Pete.
there's a guy on the chat. I want to just bring him in. His name is Greg Nielsen. He says, "Evening all from Florida. Hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving."
Ate too much, but other than that, it was great.
We're
My
in
wife's a
Florida.
good cook.
Yeah, we're in Florida.
Where in Florida, Greg? I know it's been a while since you typed that message, but I hope you're still there.
He'll have to go to that hobby shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil's
Phil's
Hobby
Hobby
Shop.
Shop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Phil's Hobby Shop in St. Petersburg on 4th.
This one says Phil's Hobby Shop in Pinellas Park. I guess that's
Yeah, that's Gandy
Same
Boulevard.
thing.
okay.
Same thing.
Just wanted to make sure. Yeah,
I didn't know
I
you
have-
owned a hobby shop in Florida, Phil.
No, I didn't. I'm just wondering. I ain't paid royalties yet. Darn.
Looks like a
Trayan. Hey, Trayan, how are you?
I'm okay.
Good deal.
I'm here saying hi to you guys, and
Good deal.
that's
Good to
about
see
it.
you, Fran.
Hey, Tryon.
Hey, Tryon.
There you go.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
Landon. Hi, Tryon.
Steve is going wild.
Yeah, I just got some too. That stuff is super sticky.
They lie though on that UK place that sells the carbon fiber. They charged me what, $15 next day shipping. Still ain't here.
We get a holiday.
I'm like, I want to see it get here next day from England, but it didn't show up.
I really doubt it's gonna get there next day. Seriously
They
doubt
shipped
it.
it. They didn't say you were gonna. They shipped it. They just didn't say you were gonna get it.
There's a few COVID and a few Christmas problems right now. The post office is having a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I just
Hey
think
guys, can I show you guys a picture? I flew this plane today, and let me show it to you. It's kind of unique because it's an upright chipmunk. Let me see if I can find it here. It's been a little bit of curiosity about it. So, do you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's like a
The
super.
problems you're having with your tank.
All
Yeah.
right. What's that?
Yeah, so it
cool.
flies really nice, and
I
it's
like
really
that.
light.
That looks nice.
I haven't weighed it yet, but it flies well nice. I bought it off of a friend of mine. Unfortunately, he has diabetes, and his feet are getting in problems, so he can't fly, or he can't stand on his feet very long. So it didn't have the motor. I bought the motor, and I mounted the motor. I made the tank because it's a small compartment, and yeah, so it's kind of neat flying an upright engine. I never seen a chipmunk like that.
Yeah. That's the regular chipmunk, right? Not the super chipmunk.
No, that's the super.
You know,
that's the super.
That's the super.
It is? I don't know. I think he built it by scratch.
What's that silver
Well,
thing?
it's got a super
What was that,
canopy
Bob?
on it anyway.
What's that silver thing in the nose?
That's the thing that gets loud and makes all the smoke.
Oh, that's too funny.
Makes all the slime. That's a slime maker.
What
That's the truth.
what
Hey, I'll
motor
tell
is
you what.
that, Charles?
This is a OS Max
35S.
35S.
Oh, good
Yeah.
motor.
All right.
Oh,
Hey, Charles.
Yeah.
Last weekend, I got talked into taking out an old airplane. It's got a Fox 35 on it.
Right.
God, I had forgotten how much oil those things make.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
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 Look at this beauty, man. It's got the muffler on the inside of the airplane. You ain't getting
Yeah.
me to launch that sucker.
I know.
And
I
the,
know.
and
You don't
exhaust
want to wear a
stack
white
straight up.
shirt, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And but by the way, you guys, Greg Nielsen says sounds like my son and his video games, and he's I guess South Okeechobee is and it's by Sebring.
oh,
And he
okay.
says-
I know right where he is.
And he says
Alligator
hobby
Island.
He says hobby shops here are mostly cars, very little aircraft stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not that far from us in Tampa.
Well,
It-
what
actually, he's
can you
pretty close.
expect? All the hobby shops would have cars in them if you're in Sebring.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And they're open 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people got that before?
Y'all are bad.
He's a little bit south central from us.
Jim, how is your plane going?
Hey Charles.
My plane has not made a lot of progress because you haven't seen me in a few weeks because I bought a brand new MacBook Pro 16-inch
Right.
Special ordered with extra RAM and all this stuff, and I bought it in May, and last couple weeks ago it was having a weird problem when I tried to upgrade to the latest operating system, and now December 1st it has to go into the Apple store to get a new motherboard.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the good part. The good part is it's my work computer, so I have to have another computer. So I had to go buy another MacBook Pro 16-inch. I had to drive all the way to Sarasota to get it, and it's not even it's only a 16 gig RAM and a little bit smaller hard drive, but that's what I've been doing. Finishing
Well,
my
you don't have to work so hard. You don't have that much capacity.
What's that?
You don't have to work so hard. You don't have that much capacity.
Yeah, but all my stuff's on the cloud. I don't keep much on the hard drive. The hard drive's probably big enough, but the problem is it only has I couldn't buy the newest MacBook Pro because they have a new chip. And the low-end versions, so they haven't come out with the MacBook Pro 16-inch yet.
Oh, okay.
And the 12-inch has a new chip. It's still Unix-based, but it runs way cooler, and the battery lasts way longer, as we all know that fly electric. If you get that battery hot, you're not doing it's not going to run as long. So I don't know. I bought about 50 Macs in my life, so I'm going to put the screw to them and say, hey, y'all take this back, and I want the new one when it comes out. The new one doesn't cost, but another $500 or $600 more. I can get the latest, greatest operating system, the new chip, everything. But I use multiple monitors, so I have to have 4 USB-C Thunderbolts.
We have a loop.
Sounded like it. Heck of an echo.
Yeah. Anyways, I have a guy on the chat box. His name is Ken Hardwick, and he says hi. Do you guys know Ken Hardwick?
Name's familiar.
Name sounds familiar, but can't say that I put face to it.
And then Greg Nielsen said I wish. I don't know if he's talking about your MacBook, Jim, or what, but he said I wish.
Did you receive that that motor that you bought, Jim? You said you got it, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
What I did is I ordered some more 5mm shafts so that I can do a proper front mount with it. Because you can't just turn that sucker around. You have to heat the bearings and push the shaft out. And I got some extra long bearings. And I have a friend, Dave Hallis, has a lathe. So once I figure out exactly how long I need that to be, then but I won't put it in my current tracer. I'll put it in the next one I'm doing.
What motor are you talking about?
The Badass.
35 1510 or whatever it is, 710.
Yeah, it's a low one. Here, I'll get it. I'll show it to you.
I'm still waiting to get to the note.
Hey, Mike.
I'm waiting to go.
Mike, don't let those dreaded Canadians fly that bi-slob.
I think maybe just not let your wife fly it and we'll be okay.
Who his?
Hey, go get Naomi.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. Did it crash on her or did it crash on you? I don't remember.
It was
me.
Me. Crashed on you. Okay.
Pretty sure I dinged it.
Who did?
Maybe we were both at the handle. I can't remember. I think we were both at the handle, but I think it was my fault. That's pretty common.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Lynn,
well,
did you
there
want
you
to ask
go.
me a question,
Yeah,
Lynn?
it was your fault.
Yeah.
Shit,
Yeah, I
Jack.
was just gonna say to you, Charles. I noticed that chipmunk has real rubber on the top. That's pretty good.
Has real rubber where?
On the wheels.
On
Oh,
the
yeah.
on the wheels.
Yeah, they
It's
weigh about
none of
how
the,
many-
none of those modern foam tires on that. It's got real rubber.
yeah,
Yes.
weigh
Well,
about
I
a
needed,
pound and a half each.
I needed the weight because the plane has a upright motor. It messed up the vertical CG. So I found my old grungy Duplo tires when I was a kid, full of
Yeah.
oil, and they were heavy
Okay, that makes sense.
enough to straighten out the vertical CG. So now the plane flies flat and level.
That's what I.
What'd you say, Lynn?
He's disappeared again.
Oh, cool. That's one way of doing it.
Let's see the motor, Jim.
Let me click on you, Jim.
All right.
That's the box. That's not the motor. Badass.
It comes in a box.
Badass. I like that name.
They all come in a box.
Oh, yeah, but this
I'm
one comes with cool decals, too.
Yep.
That's what
I'm
you
still
get.
waiting to get the. I'm still waiting to get the one.
Hey,
in
Jim.
Germany.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Jim, that's what I have in the airplane here I had down before. That's exactly what's in there. The badass 3515 710K.
Yeah. Well, Trey can help me out with that a little bit. Bob, have you ever seen Trey's plane? What kind of battery usage he has and how cool his stuff is?
You just have to move the battery up and down.
The
or heavy the other one.
Train does. By the way, Train, I was going to tell you, I tried that Zor wooden prop, the tube blader, last weekend.
Okay.
And I had about 20% battery left. It's a Cobra motor. It's got a little higher KV. Full flight, I had almost 40% left using that tube blade compared to Igor's prop.
Yeah.
Yep.
No kidding.
So
What
It's a
prop
good
is
prop.
that now? X or what?
it's a Zor 12.6.
Wow.
And it's an electric wooden prop.
Electric wooden.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
beautiful props. They're beautiful. They're balanced too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can get them wood or Trey and got his black. I don't know how you get those. You got to know somebody, I guess.
Had to know somebody. That's like
No.
you got Joker Motors and we can't get them. At least not the D7 first.
Hey Jim, when
Yeah.
you turn over that badass, does it hit hard at every?
Well, it's got big fat neodymium. I mean, I always thought a good motor, you should feel the magnets.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Man, that's one stiff son of a gun.
That's neodymium, isn't it? That's what the hell that's pronounced? Neodymium?
I thought it was neodymium is what K&J
I think it's neodymium.
neodymium.
So can you feel them in that, Jim?
I can't even turn it over.
Jim,
Okay,
I
so
put you a
there's-
message here in a box.
So they're as stiff as a Axie motor, then, huh?
No, this is way stiffer than any motor I've ever tried to turn over.
Okay, that's
There's something. Well, it's got a. You know, you can see it's got a set screw there, and I don't know why that really shouldn't matter, but for whatever reason,
Be careful.
I hope it ain't that hard.
what does the front of it look like?
Well, one of the things Train was telling me is that with a front mount motor, you see that really should be the front of your motor
Yeah.
because it only has the 3 holes, and then on the back that should be the back of your motor because then you're following the the airflow principle, where you got at least 2 to 1. But this motor comes as a rear mount, and the only way you can make it a front mount is to heat up these bearings and push the shaft out.
That's funny because I have 3 of them and they all came as front mount motors.
Huh.
Bolted right into the airplane. Just
well, that's a front. Have you changed that one over?
No, I haven't changed. I haven't changed it.
Well, it's a front mount, as it says there.
Well,
that's a front mount that you're showing us.
It is.
You don't need to change anything to that, Jim.
No, just bolt it in.
No, I did order a front mount.
Bobby, what battery you running on that motor?
Front mount.
Yeah, that's the front mount, and you can take that collar off there. That's if you rear mount it, so it don't pull the shaft out. But
yeah, it's increased safety.
Yeah, you have to heat up the shaft anyway to get it out. It ain't just
no. It doesn't have a set screw on the side. Look on the collar.
Yeah, the collar does.
Yeah, take it out. Yeah, you don't need that. Just take the set screws out and remove that thing out, and you're done. That's it.
Yeah. Then you put it on as a front mount.
Yeah, you can.
That's only extra insurance for a rear mount.
Right.
Yeah, I just took mine out of the box, bolted it in the airplane, put a prop on it, went and flew. You know.
Yeah.
Bob, how many cells you fly that on? Bob,
I've seen somebody that was doing I've seen somebody that was doing an article called electrocuting the Atlantis, and he had some issues with the. No, it wasn't that. Oh, on an SV11, there was on YouTube on an SV11. So he had the shaft, the propeller spinner would not go back enough, right? And I was looking on a video, I was like, he left the color in there. He just take the color off and put the propeller whatever he wanted. You want SV11 build on YouTube or something like that. Anyways, Jim, I put in a message box some links.
Yeah.
Phil, you were asking about what battery?
Mm-hmm.
That's 710 kV. That's a 6S motor.
6S motor. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have 6 cells. I have some 6 cells.
Yeah. I think you can go as low as 550 on a 6S and still be fine on a 6-inch prop, 6-pitch prop.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than enough, I think.
And I'm landing. I'm doing 5-minute, 25-second flights, and I'm landing with 30% left in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm not using the prop or the Zor. I'm using the Ressinger reverse pitch, but I lighten them up. I take a tremendous amount of weight out of them, so they are equivalent to their Igor prop, but they just pull better. They're much stiffer, and they pull better, and they're reverse pitch.
Right.
You know the Exors weigh like 14 grams or something like that.
The
Igors are 12-inch.
Igors are 18 grams.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, there's light as Igors for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're 2-blade. The Igors, I think, it's 3-bladers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Igor could make his props lighter if he was doing a different build for their props, but what do you know?
Yeah.
I think I can make the same prop in about 7-8 grams range. Go ahead, Charles.
So I got a clarification from Greg Nielsen. He said he wished the hobby shops were open 24 hours a day. That's what I wish was that.
That's
I'd be happy.
I'd be happy just to have one.
What are you there, Bob?
A real hobby shop.
That's the Igor 3-blade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mike, I saw you, Mike. 1 second, Mike. Oh, that is pretty, Bob.
Make him big.
It's a nice prop.
There he is.
Very nice.
Pretty.
This is the old Genesis. This is the one from 2000.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, Bob.
Back. Cool.
I love those wheel pants. Nice.
Oh, they're
really elegant.
They got 3-inch wheels on them, so they can land on grass too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
3-inch wheels? Look like smaller wheels than that.
That's so cool.
The wheel paths.
Yeah, but that's a guy measuring, so they may not be really 3-inch.
Oh.
All right, you guys, let Mike speak. Mike has something to say here. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, it's nothing. Not really a big deal. It's just the bi-slob we've been working on. Sam just finished it. We started it today, and he participated in the whole build. Well, assembly, I should say. So,
Would you just lop off the front of it?
Oh, he did a lot of gluing. Yeah, I already cut it off, man. It's good. He did a lot of the gluing and a lot of screwing the hardware in and putting the belt trick in. So hopefully he learned something today. You know, putting one together.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Now, what's that yellow thing on the side of the fuselage?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
It's
right.
it's a sticker so you can see it better.
All right. Yeah, I'll go along with that. That'll work.
What's the offset on that? What's the engine offset?
A lot. I mean, look at it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is a lot.
That's a bunch.
Well, it's already
looks.
It's pre-drilled
Looks
already for a
perfect.
Fox 35. It's already got that much offset, and
Yeah.
there's actually a metal plate that the motor sits on in the crutch.
Exactly.
So, and look at the rudder offset too.
Wow.
And that's what keeps them hanging out on the lines. You know.
Looks like you did a nice job with the engine.
Yeah, I
You did a
swapped
nice
them
job
out.
with the engine.
I used Dubro hinges on it because the Brodak ones are junk.
I remember watching Ron Pavlower, the guy who
Good idea.
The guy who designed that, Ron Pavlower, was from Long Island, and he used to fly over at all the contests. After the contest, he'd fly that, and he was amazing with it.
Yeah, we had like no slouch with it whenever he flew one.
I wonder if he was as good as Len.
Len's pretty good, man. Len's all right. We've had a couple of them, but we totaled them in.
I've
You know.
flown lots of bi-clubs.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
They don't They're not durable. They're not durable. They don't hold up to a crash.
No, and you slap them back together and try to get them airworthy again, and then you slap
And
them
the
back
thing
together.
is every time you crash it and put it back, it flies a little worse than before.
Yeah.
Now, do you use this?
When they're new, they fly amazing. If you can,
Most airplanes are like that.
Yeah.
Which
Do you have a third line for the engine? Do you adjust the engine?
No, you send it up slobbering. You send it up slobbering rich. You use a Fox 35. You send it up slobbering rich with a 10-6 prop, so that it'll just
and hope for lots of wind.
Because if you lean it out, then it just flies too fast, and you kind of lose the.
Yeah.
You want to be able to hover it. You lose the effect if you fly it too fast. You really want it to fly. You want it just enough that if you hover it, it stays or just climbs a little. You don't want it dropping on you, but like a little climb. You just keep wiggling the rudder or the elevator to spill off the speed, and you know.
Yeah, we tried to do one on electric.
To get it set.
And we couldn't. It didn't last long enough. We were getting there, but we had what we were trying to do was with a car transmitter to set it up till it would almost hover, and you could give it gas to bring it up a little bit, let it down, but we couldn't get it close enough. And
You can't give it gas. You can't give it gas. It's electric.
Give it go.
That's
give it
the problem.
Well, it's not a biflob.
That's right.
It's not a biflob.
We solved your problem.
It's not a biflob then. It's a bipolar.
Bipolar, yeah.
That's right.
Very good. Very good.
That was good. That was
I'll be right
good.
back. I'm gonna get some popcorn.
That must be why it only flew some of the time.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you what. That's
Oh man.
Yep.
You don't want to fly it when a thunderstorm's coming in because you get negative electricity.
Negative electrons.
Going backwards when you're going to go forwards, you know.
I was just wondering if, when you're flying electric, if you pick up static electricity, would it make it run faster?
Make you run faster.
Make you run.
Make you run faster.
Right.
Plane don't even notice. Plane don't notice, but you'll run faster.
Just go right into the airplane. Help charge your battery.
Hey Bob, did you get anything in the mail from me, Bob?
You know, I haven't even been to the post office yet, but I'm sure it's there. I haven't been there since like Monday. So.
Okay.
I'm sure it's there. I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
How would I get Dave Tribble's telephone number, Bob?
USPS has a nifty application. You sign up for it, and it will tell you what you can expect in your mail.
It works too.
It's actually pretty cool.
It works well.
You still got a P.O. box, Bob? You don't have a regular mailbox?
Yeah, we don't get mail delivery. I have to go there. It's only a quarter mile away, but I'm just too lazy to go.
That's like my uncle. I mean, still the same P.O. box from whenever, but it's like, but
I have two post office boxes, one for the company and one for personal. One is 68 and one is 368. And that was just a coincidence that we got the 68. Everybody gets the wrong post office box because it's got the 68 in there, you know.
I always wanted my post office box to be 69, but
Oh, gee.
someone else already had it.
Oh, Steve, you are truly too many.
Steve, with your luck, you'd wind up getting number 86.
Only you, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
86.
It's getting too late for me. It's past my bedtime. But the badass, I'm sitting here trying to turn the shaft, and you ain't ever gonna turn the shaft.
Oh no, that took directly to the case. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So now,
there we go. Now you got it.
Yeah, you think I've never flown this stuff?
You have to connect it to the case, not the shaft.
Well, it depends.
How does it? When can you really feel the magnets when you turn it?
Oh yeah, everyone.
I mean, hard like an Axie motor, or is it?
Well, I've never owned an Axie motor.
Oh, I thought maybe you had.
I've owned Plettenberg motors.
Yeah.
And it's not as, I don't think it's as hard as a Plettenberg motor.
You know, with the prop one, it's not that much.
No.
Well, you said though that when you can really feel the magnets, you get more torque out of the motor. And I don't know if that's
it's not that hard to turn.
Yeah, it's not.
You run them for a while.
No, because
they run cold, very cold.
Yeah, because on a Cobra or whatever, I can spin it, but you can't do that with an Axie motor. I think it's like it got notches in it. You can spin it a little bit, but it'll stop.
I was amazed how I looked up one of those Plattenbergs, and I couldn't believe how darn expensive they are. Must be a good motor because it's 5 times as expensive as anything else.
Well, you know what?
It's made in Germany.
No.
So it's a Joker, but I'm getting 3 Jokers.
The deal is Plettenberg, their hobby is this type motors. They do a lot of sailplanes.
Yeah.
But do you know what their real business is?
No idea.
Because they close all summer. They don't sell the first motor in the summer. Their real business is making electric motors for submarines.
Wow.
Military submarines.
Okay.
And those guys have got their act together, brother. The first one I ever ordered, they balanced the armature, they balanced the case, and they are just as good a made motor as you can get, but they're a little on the heavy side for sure.
And they only have those mounting screws that are so close together. I don't
Yeah.
like And I think this badass runs as good as anything I've ever seen, and you could buy 4 of them for what you pay for.
Oh yeah, for compared to a Plettenberg.
They're disposable. Electric motors are disposable. You know, you run them until the bearings go out. If you don't want to replace the bearings, buy a new one. And they all run the same. You know, it's not like they have to have a piston and liner fit. You know, they all run the same.
Well, I will say this about Plettenberg. I still got the first ones, and they still run just as good as the day I bought them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, what did it cost you? Like $180 or something?
No,
Yeah,
they're
about
over 2.
Huh?
They're over 2.
250.
250, Bob.
You could buy four badasses for that.
Yeah, well, I've seen a bunch of Cobras, which I don't think are as good as the badass, but I know it's lasted longer than some of the. I've probably been more than 4 Cobras.
Yeah.
I think I bought mine for about $35 each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't buy Plettenbergs anymore, but I appreciate good quality, and let me tell you, that is a beautiful motor.
It is. It is. I just don't like the mounting. The mounting is.
Yeah.
You know.
Although I used them for a lot of years. Yeah, I never had the first problem with it, but we were all rear mounting. We weren't trying to front mount them.
A little more difficult to do an offset, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you got, Brian?
Nothing. I'm just gluing something here.
Oh, I thought you were holding it up to show.
Nah. Nothing to show here.
I got something to show.
Here.
Yeah, in the show.
Guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you Monday.
Eddie, take care of yourself, buddy. We'll see
All right. All right. Good night.
I'm looking forward to meeting some of you guys. I may take a trip next year to some tournaments or a contest. I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you guys in person.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well,
I'll be there.
You want to meet Steve in person? No, definitely not.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
I'll see you, Eddie.
Take
Thanks for
care.
coming in.
Night.
Bob, I'm trying to figure out how in the world, if we get together at the Nationals and have me, Steve, you, I just don't think the whole darn state is big enough for
all those
5 or
egos?
6 of us to get together. I
Speak for
just don't know if it'll.
That's one thing. Bob's always busting my chops about something, so we have a lot of fun when we get together. There's no doubt about that. So
Well, that's the thing about it.
I
I
mean, you
don't
get
care
what you
about the other.
deserve.
I want to have some fun.
yeah,
Just cut up and have some fun.
I can take it. You can ask Bob. Ain't nothing he said to me that's made me mad. Makes me laugh. The funniest one was, I think you missed it, Phil. I got on here a couple years now after we got back from the World Championships, and everybody asked me how was it and stuff, and I said I loved it. The people in France treated me better than the people here. And what did Bob say?
They don't know you.
Yeah, they don't know you as good as we do.
He really did say that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a shot in the dark. Lord, I tell you what, that's what they tell me, Steve.
Good
So
one,
we'll
Phil.
do fine.
You know, Bob's pretty witty most of the
He
time.
is that. He is that. I tell you what, Bill Werwich.
You gotta hang around with Werwich for a while if you really want to get yourself bruised up, because he is the fastest wit I've ever seen in my life.
That's what I was going to say. Billy Werwich, everybody thinks he's so calm and collective and quiet. I got to talk to him at the World Championship, and he had me cracked up.
He's the funniest guy on the planet.
He is a mess. I kept thinking, where's the guitar when I need one?
I'll tell you a great Billy Werwich story that I told somebody yesterday. It was about the time when he got back home from the 1970 World Championships, and the World Championships that year were before the Nationals. And he came back and he went to the Nationals. And of course, here's the newly crowned world champion flying his USA 1. Well, who rolls up to the circle, and it's Lincoln, but Duke Fox. Now, Duke has been, his engines have been used in the event forever. right? And he just assumes everybody's flying a Fox. So he comes up and everybody's out there. It's like 20, 30 people watching Billy fly. And Duke gets out of his car and he's beaming with pride watching Billy fly. And Billy lands and Duke says, "That's a fine runner motor, Billy." And Billy goes, yeah. And when he starts it up, flies again. Everybody's watching. More people come around. Billy lands. This goes on for a couple of flights. And finally, Duke can't contain himself. So after Billy lands, he goes, "That's a fine running motor, Billy. Which one of my motors is that?" And Billy says, "That's your Super Tiger, Duke."
Oh,
And they again.
That is good.
What was it? A Super Tiger 46 or
Tiger 46? Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that plane? Yeah.
No, that's funny.
You know what got me? I went to Tucson and was watching Billy fly. I'm trying to remember the name of the airplane. A little red airplane with yellow Vulcan with a 46 in it. I thought that plane flew great. The next year he flew it with a 36 in it, and it looked like it had gained power instead of losing it.
Yeah.
So I finally asked Billy, "Can I check the weight on that thing?" He says, "Sure." I went over and picked it up. Okay. So I set it back down. He says, "What?" I know why it flies so well. It don't weigh nothing.
Yeah, it's 38 ounces.
Billy's planes are always light, but wow. I kept thinking, I kept seeing all these things in the magazines. Bill Ward was just playing at 44 ounces, and I'm sitting there, that plane's too big to be 44 ounces. No, their scale was right. Billy Bill's that light.
You know, the P-47s, those 710 square inch big monster round fuselage things, they weigh 54 ounces.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one more the PA-75.
No, his was a 61.
That's unreal.
Oh, his was 61?
61.
Yeah, he flew 61. I don't know. Billy got stuck on the 61s. He flies smaller motors for a while. Well, Randy Smith flies a 51 in a SV11. I've got a 61 in mine.
You know, that's the biggest engine I ever flew in stunt was a 51.
I thought you had a 60 in that Super Saturn.
That's awesome.
The 60s I ever had were my pattern airplanes, my RC pattern airplanes.
Good grief. I was looking for something down there tonight, and I picked up one of my I can't remember if it was OPS or YS, but anyway, it was a 45 pipe motor that I flew in pattern.
Yeah, YS.
And I couldn't believe how heavy that sucker was.
Yeah.
That thing makes a Super Tiger feel light, but it does have good power. That's why I kept it.
Yeah.
That I still got my gold head Tiger OS 61 FSR on a pipe.
Oh, people did fly the YS 45s in stunt?
No, in pattern.
Oh, in pattern. Oh, okay.
I flew it in pattern.
I flew the
Everybody
YS
says you can't.
51.
Everybody says you can't fly a 45 in pattern. I said, well, watch and see. But I flew it and did pretty decent with it. I got a third with it at one of the memorial contests around here. I can't remember which one. But the next year I went to that big OS and it flew a lot better. But I never did quite get the hang of that Phoenix 8. That plane and I just never, we butted heads the whole time I flew it.
Great rolling airplanes.
Yeah, it rolled great. But the problem was getting the I can't remember what the problem with it really was. But I always liked the Dirty Birds and the VFOs. That was my favorite.
I like the E1As. They rolled great too, but they were hard to stall turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about the Curari, Hannah Pretner?
That's a great airplane.
That was a great airplane if you could get it.
Yeah, there's my last motor I ran in pattern, which is the pumper motor.
Yeah. Those were good motors.
What's that? What is that, Ed, Steve?
It's a SF 61 pumper. But
I'll get back there and get mine out one of these days.
Came out with a Hano, and I never tried the Hano.
I didn't think the Hano ran any better than the rest of them. The guys around here that had them never got them any better than what I had, and I didn't have a Hano. I had a gold head, but I never had a Hano.
That's the biggest engine I've ever run. That's an 80.
81. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
That's not control line, is it?
No.
No.
Not hardly.
What's that, Bob?
That's an EU-1A. I flew that at the '85 Nationals.
That is sharp.
That's awesome. It is.
The YS-61. Good airplane.
You remember that, Bob? That plane that the guy that makes the glue, Bob Smith. Remember his airplane?
No.
This is the wing for it. I just never built it. But he sucked somehow he did fiberglass over foam.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no balsa wood in it.
Huh.
In the whole airplane. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. I think it was a 78 Nats. This was the big airplane.
Huh.
That more people, it took first, and I don't know, I forget how many of these were there, but yeah, that was what Bob Smith did before that he got into the glue stuff.
First, third, and fifth, I think.
First, third, and fifth?
I think that's what it was.
I can't remember.
I got the box. Can't remember the name of the darn plane.
Who's
Getting old, rough.
His design?
What?
Yeah, it was supposed to be his design. From what I heard, it was his design.
Yeah, it was his design and everything. Yeah.
Huh. That doesn't ring a bell.
But I guess that's how he got into doing the glue and the epoxy and stuff, was when he came up with this method of. The only thing I can think of is that he made the outer skins first and then glued them to the.
Molded them. Mm-hmm.
And molded it to the foam. But it's got a hollow leading edge, and
I cannot remember the name
well,
of it.
it kind of reminded me of, the way you do it, being molded. It's perfect. You don't have to sand.
Yeah.
The leading edge and stuff. I think that's probably, you look down at it. I mean, there is not a wiggle wobble, nothing in that thing, and that's probably what made the airplane fly good.
Yeah. No, I don't know that airplane. Back in '78, the Tiger Tails and the compensators and all those things were very popular right around that time.
The TR something, I think.
Huh.
Yeah, no, something kind of TR9, TR something.
Huh.
I'll go find out. Hold on.
Do you guys have trouble getting up to speed
Hey
when
guys,
you fly after a long
I gotta
time?
go.
Oh yeah,
All right, guys.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for
See you
coming,
guys
man.
on Monday.
All right.
I gotta
Take care
get some
of yourself.
sleep. Yeah,
All right,
work
take
starts
care of
early
yourself.
tomorrow. Good night, guys.
Work on
Good night.
Saturday?
Good
Good night.
It's been fun always.
Yeah.
All
A
right.
couple of days ago, I went out flying, and I was just, I'm like, God, do I suck? Right. I'm just horrible. I was like, man, this is just appalling, to me. I mean, to my standards, anyways. And I was looking, what's going on here? Is it normal or? Because I kind of, once I get up to speed, I get up to speed. Like before the contest, I put a bunch of flights and I'm getting into it and I'm fine. But I even felt rushed a little bit, even though I was flying just as fast as I used to do before. So, it felt very awkward, anyways.
Were you out partying the night before?
I'm sorry?
Were you out partying the night before?
No. Just normal day.
That's happened to me before, Tryon. It's like you're just off that day. You're just
Yeah, I was just I mean, it got better, after a few flights. I put a few flights in there, and it just progressively it improved, right?
Right.
It improved by quite a bunch, But I was thinking, maybe the question is, once you have it down and packed, and you are very, very versed in your flying ability, do you need a lot of warm up to get it back up to speed, or just different people have different ways of getting up there?
If it only happens once in a while, I wouldn't worry about it.
No, it kind of happens kind of all the time. When I get up when I'm rusty, I have to shake the rust off of me.
Well,
But
if you're
it's
busy,
not like
a few flights to get back into it, sure. How many flights do you normally fly when you go out to practice?
not much, 4 or 5 flights.
Yeah, that's what I do too. You can't concentrate much past that.
Mhm.
There we go.
T2A.
Yeah, I do remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
1970 used to be that all the stuff was really. I don't know if you can see. Can you see in there?
Yeah.
The whole wing is honeycombed.
Huh.
She did honeycombed wing. Talk about a pain in the ass trying to sheet this thing. But my dog stepped on it.
Oh.
So.
Was he foaming at the mouth?
After I got done with his ass with that belt, he was foaming at the mouth. He tried not to listen, and then would just run roughshod. And he got a little wild in the house and knocked this off the table and came back through and stepped on it. But I calmed him down.
I bet you missed.
Wow.
T2A.
I'm trying to answer your question. A lot of times, if I'm 6 weeks between flying, which happens a lot in the wintertime, we have these crazy weather around here. When I go back, where I really seem to notice it is you do your 3 insides and then you go to do 6 loops, 6 laps inverted. By about the 4th lap, I'm starting to feel a little funny. By the 5th one, I'm really getting feeling like wonder what I ate for supper. Or what did I have to drink? In the 6th lap, I'm just about drunk, and I'm really happy that I get to stop and make 3 consecutive loops in one spot. You don't have a long wait between again. And then after that flight, one flight like that, the next one gets a little better and a little better. By the 4th or 5th flight, you're back feeling like, all right, let's go get serious and fly some now. But wow, the first flight, the inverted flight, is what wears me out.
Inverted flight?
Yeah, inverted flight, trying to be 4 feet off the ground and just concentrate on 4 feet inverted. I get drunk. I feel like I'm getting drunk. And then once I do my 3 loops, I keep saying laps, 3 loops, then I get back, and for the rest of the flight, I'm fine. But boy, it's that 6 laps, that long time of just doing nothing but turning around in circles.
What you're saying is during the 6 laps, you get loopy.
That's it. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah. Phil, I have a comment from Greg Nielsen. He says, I'm not sure what he's talking about, but he says, was that a cougar? And then the next line he says, I think it's referring to you, Tryon. I think he's saying, thinking too fast, plane is slower.
Yeah, that could be too.
No, I felt like I was being rushed in a maneuver a little bit.
When you fly a flight, do you come down and go right back up again?
No.
What?
When you fly a practice flight and you're alone, do you go right back up again and fly another one right away?
Yeah, that day was, the weather was coming in. It was kind of rainy, and I wanted just to knock them out one after another.
Normally, when you go out to fly, do you fly a flight, then put a new battery in and go fly right again?
Yeah, but usually I have a little walk to get back to the charger and, get back to the plane, and I kind of have a time to think about things. And
well, that's just it. You want to make a flight plan. You want to think about what you did. You want to think about what you want to work on, and focus a little bit. And that gives you a flight plan for the next flight, and that generally helps you focus a little better.
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes. About 10, I usually give it about 10 minutes to think about it and give the plane a chance to cool off.
Up again, because you haven't had time to think about what you did wrong in the last flight, or what you need to work on, or
Yeah.
I just had to sit and think about it and write. And I make notes after every flight. So
Yeah. Honestly, I was kind of rushed that day because as I was driving over there, it was raining on the way down there, like drizzling, right? Not a big rain. And when I got over there, the weather was fine, but I saw some darker clouds coming in, so it was kind of just get it out of the system kind of thing. So
I wouldn't worry about it,
yeah,
it doesn't happen.
yeah. But on the first flight, I was like, oh my god, I'm just wow, that was bad. I mean, just
you worry too much. You push yourself too hard. You need to relax a little. Enjoy it.
No, I do, but you every time you fly, you burn in a good flight or you do not, right?
Well,
So
that's
so
true.
after that one, I was like,
Well, you can't get up to a peak and maintain it indefinitely. Nobody can. Everybody thinks when you go to a nationals, they see all these top flyers and they're flying at this unbelievable level, and they think that every day they fly exactly that way. Trust me, they don't. They don't.
Okay, so it's normal.
They build up to a peak and they peak for a couple of days, and then when they go home, they fall off that peak too. So, nobody can maintain that level of flying all the time.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, I want to show you something.
Yeah.
I'll show you all, actually.
Oh, look at this.
Remember this guy?
Yeah.
That I was building? So, basically, the way I solved the engine mount, as you can see, what I've done here with the hardwood mounts, I cut half of them off.
Yeah.
And then here in the front, it kind of tapers to the normal size.
Yeah.
So this is a full width over here, right?
Yep.
And what I've done after that, I just put a piece of plywood that I drill my holes, as you can see, is for 2 sets of motors. It's actually I have 25 millimeter ball pattern. I can put the axe in it, the 2826.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can put my Joker, who has the same diameter but different ball pattern, for a little bit smaller.
You could just make them slots, and it works just as well. You don't have to put holes. You just make them slots.
True, absolutely, yeah, absolutely true. I just did like this because I thought if I drill the hole, it's just easier for me.
When you have 4 holes, when you bolt them down, it's going to self-center anyway.
Yeah, I mean, these are very nicely done because I had a template that off of which I was building my. Actually, I cut it on a CNC machine at work. So I put the drill in one corner of the slot and the drill on the other corner of the slot. So I kind of got the ball pattern in here. So this is a 1/8 plywood, and I put some unidirectional carbon on it.
Carbon.
And then I just did a little bit of this on top of it.
Looks nice, Trey.
Phil and Bob, back in the pattern days, did you ever use the ingrain balsa with the carbon fiber on each side for your bolts?
It's called Magnolite.
Yeah. What's it called?
Yeah, we used it for motor mount. It was in my E1A, matter of fact, that Magnolite.
Yeah, I mean, we always use that, and I was wondering why you couldn't use that in an electric.
You absolutely could. There's no reason why you couldn't.
No reason couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know where to get Magnolite anymore. I'm sure it's still available someplace.
Yeah, I forget. I seen someplace that still had it that you could buy it with ingrain and with that on there. I still have a.
That's great stuff. Gives you plenty of gluing surface too.
Yeah, I still got a 6x12 piece of that left.
Whoa, lucky dog.
But yeah, I mean, we use that all the time, and the only pain in the ass was it dulled the crap out of your saw blade so fast.
Yeah, it was tough on blades. The epoxy, cutting through the epoxy. But that is sharp.
Well, I thought it was cutting through the carbon fiber or whatever that.
I don't think the carbon's that bad on it. I think that the combination of the carbon and the epoxy may be, but I don't know if something in there is hard. I mean, you go to cut the carbon, if you go to grind carbon, I didn't think you'd see sparks off carbon, but I have done it. I have seen sparks come off carbon. That's odd, but it just depends on how thick, I guess. Trey, and that thing's beautiful.
So another thing I want to say here is, as you can see, this is my tail wheel assembly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, what I do here, I'm going to show you on a piece of paper. Okay. All right. So I'm going to make myself big, if you don't mind.
I'm using on my electric airplane.
That's
Yeah.
bent. It looks bent.
Steve, wake up.
It looks bent.
Yeah, it does in the picture.
No.
Yeah.
It came through.
It's just optical illusion.
Yeah.
So here's a quick and dirty what I like to do for my tail wheels on anything, whether it's a profile or it's a full body fuselage, whatever we're gonna build, right?
Right.
So this is what I do. I bend the wire something like this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense?
Removable tail wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I cut a piece of plywood that has this shape.
I mean, for the tail wheel?
Kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
and then
same
and then,
tail wheel.
and you plate on both sides with another piece of plywood, right?
Yeah.
And depends on what it is. If it's a 1/16 wire, then use a 1/16 plywood. If it's 78 thousandths, then you patch it up with a 1/64 or whatever you want to use for over there. So you have basically a box, and then you slide this box inside, and then you snap it in. And if this ever breaks, I mean, it's very easy to replace, very easy to put another one in there. I mean, it's just really trouble free.
Yeah, that's the Yatsenko. That's how the Yatsenkos do it. They've been doing it that way for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've been doing that since first time I tried it, I think was in 2006 or something like that. But you know, there are a lot of people that don't even know this. I see them putting wires around on the bottom of the fuselage, put screws, they go through them, and they come off the screws, and it's just silly things over there, right? So, or they pin them and put braces around them and brackets and all the stuff. And this is so much more elegant and easier to deal with it. So this is so basically it's built inside of there, and actually this is going inside here.
Right. Yeah, we built our tracers like that for 10 years with removable tail wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And but over those 10 years, I never took the tail wheel out once. So I got rid of it to save a little weight.
I did it on a Ringmaster, was my first one, because I kept breaking the tail wheel. So I had to cut into it anyway. I cut into it and put one of those in there and put that in there. I've never had to change the darn thing since.
Well, some guys do it so that when they travel, that they can just like take their main gear off, they can take the tail wheel off. So that
that's why I did it, actually. That's why I wanted to do it. But I did it because the wheel broke.
Yeah. But we built the stand so the tail wheel doesn't get anywhere near another airplane. So I'm just like, well, I don't really need to go to quite that much trouble, and I can save a little bit of weight.
Have you guys seen them hinge cutters that look like a Christmas tree?
No.
They're sharp. Have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen them.
No, I haven't.
What my buddy Dick came up with, he just takes that thing and takes that hinge cutter and cuts a triangular hole and just bends his wire like that, sticks it up there and puts a little glue there, and they stay right in.
Oh, that's a great idea. I mean, just for something simple that's not removable. Yes, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, and he just takes that hinge cutter and then he bends his wire to be the same angle, on that, and you just stick it up in there and you're done. And they stay good because it goes up inside the fuselage so far and stuff. They don't wiggle or wobble or fall out. But yeah, that's just a quick and easy way to do them instead of drilling a hole and putting it in and running it down and all that, strapping it. But yeah, them things that works quick and easy. And I can't think of the name of that hinge cutter.
It's like a beam.
It really doesn't matter, you can do it with anything. Even if you patch it up and make a balsa sheet over there and just cut out the balsa and plate it on the sides, same thing.
Yeah.
Excuse you're famous.
What's the cat telling you? It's time for bed.
He says I'm
The
famous.
dog wants to go out, so I got to.
No, he's saying pet
We're
me.
back, John.
I'll be back.
All right.
All right, John. Thank you.
He'll be back.
Yeah,
I'll be
I figured the cat came to get you, Jim, to say, "Hey, it's time to go to bed. It's getting late."
Yeah, he's definitely ready for that. Get your tail out of my face. That's a cat for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Cats are different. Yeah. I have one too.
No.
I used to have two.
Well,
The second one stuck his nut tail in your face too many times.
my cat
Now the
was
second one, I
born,
think the cat has got her.
Oh Lord.
my cat was born in the back of a van out in
We
the
never
back,
found her.
and he was feral for about 6 months. So he's a little on the psychotic side.
Well, I've got a grand puppy. My daughter's dog stays with us once in a while when she has to go on her training trips. That silly thing sleeps on the bed. I've never had a dog sleep on the bed, but this thing sleeps on the bed. I'm a real light sleeper. Middle of the night, I feel something coming up in bed, open my eyes, and all I see is two eyeballs coming at me. His nose goes under the covers, his butt hits me in the face, and he goes to the foot of the bed, get under the covers. That's pretty. I like that.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's the well, you can see it or not. Yeah.
Tailwheel wire, yeah.
That's the
Mhm.
wire. And
And
then
the first one I saw do that was Herc de Jong at VSC. Showed me how to do that.
just
Oh, you got your slim. That's nice.
and you can even hear it.
Yep, heard snapping there.
Pulls right out.
Yeah.
Usually you can
And
hear it.
they're so easy to make too.
Yeah.
And if you mess up something on a landing gear, like you bend the wire wrong or something like that, just make a new one. Big up to do.
Yeah.
It's a
Right
great
on.
idea.
That is a
First
great
time
idea.
I've seen it was in 2006 at the Nats. From the English guy, they bought some Russian planes and they were over there.
Yeah.
And I saw
Yeah.
that idea on their planes. I was like, "Hey, man, this is great!" And I never looked back. Every
Yeah.
single plane that I made ever since was like that. So, Bob, tell me, what's the method to your madness with the leading edge fences?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
All right.
It's just an experiment I'm doing.
Mhm.
They're not sensors; they're actually receptacles, and I'm going to be putting little wing fence type looking things in there, but they're going to have wings out in front of the main wing with turbulators on those, because you can turbulate the air before it gets to the wing instead of turbulating it on the wing like those little doodads they stick on there. I want to
Okay.
do what's a little nicer, and doing some, Dean Poppins has been doing some research for me, and he said if you turbulate it before it gets to the wing, the only downside is it adds a little more drag. But for us, that's actually good. A little drag is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why not put two of them on each side then and run a wire between the two of them?
Well, you
And
could,
inch out.
yeah, you could do that. But instead of a wire, I'm going to put little wings out there, and I'm going to put little either pumice paint or sandpaper or something on the little wing. I'm going to do a bunch of experiments. And one of them may be running a piece of wire, because the Goodyear racers years ago, the full-size Goodyear racers, they used to have stanchions that went out about 6 or 8 inches ahead of the wing, and they had a piece of like barbed wire running through the stanchions from tip to tip, and that turbulated the air before it got to the wing and let the wing be more efficient. And the airplanes had less drag because they were falling into lift so much to get angle of attack. They were actually flying more up on the wing.
Bob, if you'd have kept your beanies from when you were a kid, you could have put them propellers out there on it.
Absolutely.
Turbulate the air all up.
Bob, don't fall for it, brother. Don't fall for it.
You see,
He'll lead you to the dark side.
It's okay. Bob is gonna go.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
a little receptacle, and they're
Okay.
they're plywood.
Oh yeah, okay, I see it.
16-inch gaps. Let's see if I can get in here. We can see it better.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh.
You know, and then you got another one near the tip.
There's a slot in it.
Oh, that's
Yeah, there's a slot in it, and then there's a hole.
I see the hole.
So you can bolt the pieces in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nice.
So what are you bolting in there, Bob? You bolting wire in there?
I'm going to bolt little pieces of plywood that are little like, almost like wing fences, but they're going to have little wings attached to them out in front of the main wing. And that's going to, for turbulators, go ahead of the wing.
Right.
So.
Very nice.
Interesting to me that you're doing this on a Genesis.
Why?
I don't know. Everybody keeps telling me that they never understood the looks of that airplane, but I've always loved it. I don't know why.
This is the Genesis LC WTDD.
Okay, what the heck does that mean?
Genesis last chapter with turbulator doodads.
Well, I still like the Genesis Extreme. That's a neat airplane.
Very nice.
I added a 1 inch to the nose, and that's a good airplane.
Well, this is essentially the same airplane I flew in 1980. That's basically the same wing and tail. It's just got twin rudders on it and a little longer nose, But basically the same airplane of it. And the Crossfire was nothing more than this airplane. This started out to be a Crossfire, and then I changed it over to a Genesis. The only difference is the Crossfire had a rudder on it.
Yeah.
Same airplane.
It's a neat looking airplane.
Nice looking. It really is nice looking.
Well, thanks. I'm gonna hopefully get this and then 2 new twins done this year. We'll see.
Two new twins.
Yeah, I got 2 new twins. I got 2 new twins on the board.
Wow.
Are you any closer to?
I've seen one of them flying at Huntersville a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You any closer to drawing one up, Bill? Bob?
No, not really. I just haven't got time to stop and just do that. I want to build airplanes from now on. I'm kind of retired from, publishing stuff.
Come on, Bob. You got too much knowledge between them ears to quit.
Yeah, but eventually you got to stop and smell the roses and cut some balsa wood, So.
Yeah.
It don't look to me like you've slowed down a bit.
Well, I'm doing a lot more building than anything these days. I'm not writing at all, and I'm certainly not drawing much anymore or publishing anything. So I got time to do some of this,
Yeah.
But maybe I got one twin called the Turning Point. I've shown people here before. Frankie Imbriaco built one. I can pull it up if you want to see it.
Yeah. Love to see show and tells.
It's really.
And if you want to draw stuff up, I'm sure you can do a collaboration with John out there. John would be more than happy probably to do anything.
Yeah, but you still got to do pencils, So let's see. What am I looking for? I'm looking for Frank Imbriaco. Hold on a second.
While you do that, let me make a little announcement. Let's see here. I guess, Greg, I'm waiting for you to explain. He wants to know what RC is hanging back on the door. I'm not sure which person that question is directed to.
Steve. Steve has an RC behind him.
Okay. And I want to also encourage you guys
back there.
I want to also encourage you guys out there in the audience to don't forget to like and share and subscribe to these videos. It helps grow the channel. And we have our YouTube memberships that start at $4.99 a month, and it helps Sparky with offsetting some of the expenses of these platforms, the Stunthangar and the Stunthangar videos. Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, that's the turning point. That's one. I have that exact airplane on the board right now. Frankie built one. He came over here and built one when I started mine. Then I held off on mine for a while. He finished his up, and which flies great. It really does. Got retracts in it.
I'd love to have plans to that. That's sharp.
Yeah,
It's beautiful, man. I like it.
That one we may publish at some point in time.
I want a set of plans if you do.
Yeah,
that's nice.
It's a nice airplane. And Frankie
really
does beautiful work. He really does.
You're gonna have retracts in it too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
What kind of paint is that, Bob?
That's a DuPont chroma-based system. You said paint, right?
That's right. I assumed it was paint.
That's a chroma-based system.
Very nice.
Yeah, he does beautiful work. Frankie's one heck of a craftsman.
Is that polyurethane automotive, Bob?
Well, automotive stuff is not polyurethane. It used to be polyurethane, but for the last several years, probably the last 15 years or so, they changed over to polyester. It's not polyurethane anymore. It's polyester paint. All the clears that everybody's calling polyurethane are really polyesters.
Well, I know they don't stick worth a crap anymore.
Yeah, I have a friend who he does Barrett Jackson level restorations. You guys may have heard of him. His name is Joel Costantino.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel lives here north of me in the Poconos, and he's got a professional shop. He doesn't do body work. He does restorations. And he has a gun that atomizes this stuff so well. You can put it on, it's almost no weight at all. And of course, you sand off a lot, but you can really put it on light.
Wow.
Joel works for Barrett Jackson?
No, he does Barrett Jackson level restorations.
Got you. Okay.
GT. I went up there about 2 months ago. Actually, it was before the Nationals. And I had to have some clear sprayed on a little repair I did on the Crossfire. And he had a $200,000 Corvette in there he had just done.
Whoa.
200,000, and it was gorgeous. I mean, the thing was just immaculate.
Wow. It better be for 200,000.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Do you guys have anyone or know anyone that will sell this kind of automotive? You say it's not polyurethane, whatever it is.
Any of them, Ditzler,
polyester, yeah,
DuPont or PPG, all their systems that are car paint systems, that's all polyester now.
Okay. Do you know anybody that sells that stuff in like small quantities, like 8 ounces or 6 ounces worth of stuff?
The only problem is trying to find somebody who will sell you a little of it, because the paint, if you buy the paint, which is the only thing, it's not a 2-part, that's an air dry, but the paint is very expensive. But when let's say you buy a pint of it, when I bought the red to go on my airplanes, I bought that Viper red, and it was $120 a pint. But you buy a thing called Base Maker, which you mix 50-50 with the pint of paint. So you get a quart. And that quart will do about 6 airplanes.
Okay. Yeah.
Look forward to
I understand that.
Red airplanes.
Goes for it.
So what I was looking for is like most of the painting I do on my planes is just maybe some stripes here and there. So I only need super small quantities, but I still need this automotive type paint that's a 2K paint.
So I think about
I took my airplane into the local DuPont dealer, and it turns out that the guy is a Giants fan, and I'm a big Giants fan too. So we immediately hit it off. And I took an airplane in to show him what we were doing, to show him we're serious about it. And he got really involved in it with us. And he said, look, he says, I'll sell you guys, I don't do this for anybody else, he says, but I'll sell you half pints. Because he realized we don't need a lot of paint. And a half pint becomes a pint when you mix it with the Base Maker.
Yep.
So you go in and take an airplane with you and see if you can get the guy to buy into the concept of what you're doing,
Yeah.
And you realize that you're not going to buy, quarts at a time, You might mix up a half pint for you.
Yeah. Okay. Because the more I go through it, the more I realize that if I want to do any kind of painting inside the molds that I have will have to be with that type of paint. Yeah. Because everybody else that's using that stuff, that's what they are using.
Yeah.
And I've tried other things and they get they attack the mold surface, even though you treat it with semi-permanents and stuff like that. And you cannot mask over the PVA if your life depends on it. So it's a no-go.
Right.
And yeah, that was my problem there.
But take your airplane in and show them what you're doing, because if they see that you're serious, and you're going to be an ongoing customer, they might buy into it and sell you small quantities. That's what he does for me. I can buy any size I want. I can buy half pints of anything, except bronze. I get the bronze in 55-gallon barrels.
You definitely got to find that.
And yes, Phil, I am going back to bronze.
All right.
Oh, I was going to say, can we look forward to some red? Because you said you bought that Viper red. That's beautiful.
I'm going to go back to the dark metallic brown, the red and white, treatment.
Well, that's your colors, man. Everybody knows you from that.
It's a beautiful combination, man.
Yeah.
So you guys
good.
have a question from Greg Nielsen in the super chat. He's asking, how are you controlling the throttle on the electric? An extra switch on your handle?
It's a timer.
Bless you.
It's an active timer. You can get them from either Igor Berger or Rogério Fiorati from Brazil. They have active timers, and they sense when the G-forces and when the airplane's turning, it'll increase the speed going up and it'll decrease the speed coming down. It's automatic. And you can.
A lot of guys.
Excuse me a second. What he may be talking about earlier, we were talking about the guys were talking about one that they used the RC car. Steve was talking about had an RC unit varying, somebody outside the circle probably varying the speed on the thing.
Yeah, you could do that.
That's just done with a RC receiver and a servo that well, you don't even use a servo in electric, but anyway, we do that on a trainer part. One of our trainers.
Right. It's not legal in competition. It's not legal for competition.
No, not for competition. But it was this. He was talking about it in a bi-slob.
Right.
And we did it on a trainer.
It's legal in scale.
But normally it is just a
I got one right here.
And a timer.
There you go.
There's one right here.
Yeah.
It's a FlySky P2. They're $20 on eBay. You plug this in. You just plug your electric motor into an ESC with a receiver, and then you got throttle. That's
Mike, you're black, man. Turn your camera on.
My camera's on.
Yeah, it is, but we can't see them.
Oh. Well,
that's weird. I can't see.
That happens sometimes. That's nothing new. And Greg Nielsen, did we answer your question, or maybe ask another clarifying question?
Yeah, clarify a little bit.
Can you see me now?
Nope.
Oh.
Can you hear me now? No.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, if you can see this.
Yeah, I can see that.
Receiver.
we don't necessarily want to see it, but yeah.
And then it goes into the ESC.
Okay.
But yeah, so we just got it on a throttle, and if you're helping somebody fly or whatever, you can
hear me now.
Cut it down.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Hey Steve, Greg had a question earlier. What plane is that hanging on that door? That RC plane.
Steve.
I can't think of the name of it.
It's got a very small tail.
I'd have to go look and yeah, it's got a small stab because the elevators come way out on the end of it.
And Mike, by the way, I can see you, Mike. By the way, I see
You know
your.
what airplane he's got is Steve. Go away. You don't know what airplane you have in your room.
I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, Mike,
he's got a big little bitty, but I see him.
Well, Greg, Mike's showing you one way of controlling the throttle on electric.
You want to do electric throttled control line. You buy one of these Fly Sky G2s, they're like $20, $22. And then you plug in your electric motor to an ESC and a receiver instead of a timer. And then you bind it to this, and you're only using one channel. You're not using the steering. You're just using the trigger. That's what we did for Sam's little backyard electric trainer. This is what Will Davis and Mark Weiss use on all the ring rats.
That's it.
That fly at Joe Nall and everywhere else where they teach kids and people how to fly control on. That's the cheapest way to do it.
And it's a blast. We taught a bunch of
And
people.
some guys even cannibalize this, cut it down, chop it up, take all the stuff, and actually make a handle with this part of it. Like they get rid of what they don't need and take this and, you know, put some metal brackets on it to tie your lines to, and then you can fly, do elevator and throttle at the same time.
So Greg, he responded and he says the electrics they're using now see a receiver.
In RC, yes.
You can also fly in scale with that. And this is another alternative that I prefer to the car handle. This we used at KOI. And if you dabble in RC and you buy any E-Flight, which is Spectrum, you buy any ready-to-fly plane. Like I got tons of these because, you know, I do the indoor flying, and these transmitters come on. They come with the helicopters or the little planes or whatever, and you just get a Spectrum receiver or a Hobby King Orange receiver. And the reason I like this is we made little transmitter trays, so you can just put it down here. The throttle stick doesn't move. It doesn't, you know, I mean, it moves, but it stays where you put it.
Right.
And so you can have two hands free with this type of a setup. And so if you were helping someone to fly, that works really good.
That's a good idea.
Tom's showing a cut down one.
Let me click on you, Tom. All right.
There you go.
Very cool, Tom.
There you go. The whole handle with the trigger.
So Greg says, thanks for the answer. So I guess we answered this question.
Look at that.
How about that?
Multiple responses, but one of them was a zinger, I guess.
Yeah. When I said some guys cut the handles down, I guess we got some guy on the show, don't we?
Get rid of the steering wheel and put a little Bondo in there.
You have to hold that trigger, though, don't you? Don't you have to hold the trigger?
You do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a different approach to the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but if you want two hands free, you go the other route.
This you can change your throttle while you're flying.
Oh, you got your lead outs on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine that, you know,
This is your handle.
Some sort of friction mechanism on it to be able to hold a trigger at any position if you really wanted to.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Hey, somebody had asked about the how we control the active timers. You have Bob was saying that you have Igors, you have Fiorettis, which I've used both of those before. Wayne and I have. We also have played with the KR timer, and Mike Waldron, who won King Orange, that's all he uses is a KR timer. And it takes a little different approach. I don't know if you've ever used one, Bob.
I've flown them. I have never have one myself. I went right from the human right to the Fiorati.
Yeah, the KR, it's a real pain in the ass, to be honest with you, or arse, because it's got a little stick that has lights on it for programming. So the programming's not very good, but it doesn't use, it just has wires that run directly to the motor. And that's where you can adjust your gain and that kind of stuff. And it actually works quite well. And it's as if you don't want to spend $300 on a Fioretti or a Igor, or wait for it to come from Europe or Brazil. I don't know. I don't know about where you get Fiorettis.
I mean, why do you spend $300 on one?
$300. I'll buy a PA motor.
Yeah, they're $79. Russ O'Neill had them.
Yeah, Oki.
Russ O'Neill.
Oki
Air.
Oki Air's got them.
But the KR, I mean, I didn't see any problem with it. I got a little practice plane I'm flying right now, and it has a KR in it, and it works great.
The one I flew, the KR, didn't have the kind of boost or the kind of brakes that the Fiorati or the Igor has.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
Braking and boosting.
It doesn't compare to that, Bob. It's
okay, you know.
It's okay, but it's not
Yeah,
a contest.
it's
level.
not high level, but it's a lot less money.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much do they cost?
It's like 59 or 69, and then a little program
The
instead.
Fiorati is $79.
Yeah.
That's pretty tough to beat Fiorati then.
Yeah.
I have one. I haven't got it hooked up.
I tried the Igor. I tried the Igor one first, and when I did not, you know, and it works fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Igor thing works great.
Oh yeah.
What I didn't like about it, what I do like about the Fiorati are the extra features, especially when we're getting older.
The light.
In the Igor, you don't know when it's going to start. You got to hit a stop
Yeah.
to tell you. On the Fiorati, it has a blinking light.
Right.
And the light goes solid blue. You have 10 seconds and it starts. And
Right.
then it goes back to blinking again in the air, and it goes to solid blue 10 seconds before it shuts off. The Igor timer, you have to have a stopwatch because it'll just shut off. There's no lowering of the it'll just shut off. And I don't want to be in a dumb place doing something stupid and have the motor just shut off on me. If I see that blue light, I got 10 seconds to get upright and get level. You know.
All right, let me ask you a question real quick.
I agree
Steve,
with you
is,
on that one.
Is that what that thing is? When you showed me you had something on the side of your airplane when you had the Fiorati, is that what you had, the IC sticking?
Yeah, you got a little blue light. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
we're
there's a dark switch and a blue light right next to it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now the only thing is, on the twins, it's going to be a pain because if I put the blue light on, put that switch in the fuselage, I won't be able to see it through the inboard nacelle.
That's true.
Can you guys see it?
Let me click on US, Steve. Hang on. Okay.
Build you an antenna, Bob.
Okay.
Stick it up
That's
top.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I've thought about something like that, but I'm going to have to find some way to make it work.
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be two wires coming off of that light. If there's wires going to it, I can make an extension and you can put the bulb anywhere you want it.
Yeah.
Wingtip.
Yeah, you can have it coming out the lead outs, but
If you had a long enough wire, you could put it right on your handle. Push the button right there. And then you fly around and you watch it blink.
I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't have started this.
Hey guys, if I can get you guys' attention, I'm gonna close the stream out, and I want to thank everybody.
Let that one guy know. I'll tell him that's a remedy. It's called.
Okay, Remedy, that's for you, Greg Nielsen. And by the way, on the chat we had Greg Nielsen and Ken Hardwick and Ed Sutter for a little bit. But thank you guys for the comments and questions on the chat. And tonight we talked about weights and balances, about how to figure out when you want to put a heavier or lighter motor in, the tail moment or nose moment, all that kind of stuff. And then we talked about the badass motors, some badass motors we talked about. And we talked about the removable tail wheels, electric timers we were just finishing up with. And we had as many as 19 concurrent viewers. And so that's pretty good. We usually trail around 19 to 20 viewers a night. And this is a late program. We ended out here in California at 10:01. I want to thank everybody for showing up. And I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and we can continue to talk. But see you guys next Monday. So go out there and build something or fly something so you can come back and share with us what happened. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. I'll talk to you later.